Welcome everybody. We'll get getting ready here in a few minutes. Hey yo, Tier, how's it going? Hey Diarrhea Farts, give me a minute. I gotta get a new camera, I think. Maybe we'll shop for a new camera. What's up? You guys want to shop for a new camera? Is there anything? There might be stuff I don't want people to see on here, like my credit card information. Let's see today's deals. We can look together. Let me just double check. Don't see anything here. Anyone have any recommendations for a new camera? Hey Tier, doing pretty good, man. We got a live stream's gonna happen in like an hour of one of the podcasts I just did. So I'm gonna answer questions on that. But I think I don't know if I'm gonna watch while I do it or just answer questions while people are in the chat. Haven't quite decided. Today's been good. I think we gained over 1,000 followers today, just from just going viral randomly. So I think I want to work on how to better market my stuff. Like the same feedback I keep getting from people is how to better market our situation. Wish there was an easy way. There's got to be like a share. There it is. Live. Let me test this real quick. Huh. Interesting. There's the share button. Let's try. I'm gonna see if this works. Yeah, okay. That looks like that works. So if I do that live one, I wonder if that embeds it in Twitter. Yeah, I need a camera for recording. Hey guys. Hey Whoopty. Hey Pierre. Hey Andy. Hey Diarrhea Farts. We could do some spicy content. We could read comments from a podcast. We could look for a camera here. We can do Salvatore Pius science. We can, let me look at my list. What do we have to do? We got a lot of stuff to do. Edward Lynn part 2, close that. Disinformation. We can work on original content. I think the thing I want to work on the most, let me copy this real quick, is like how to better get better content and how to like package it better, ideally. Yeah, this is Logitech. I got some crappy camera. Hey, Amanda, webcam for streaming. Anyone have any recommendations here? I mean, I don't want some piece of crap like this. I need something that's good quality. The current one I have is really bad. I might try to get a professional one. I don't know. These all say 1080, but I feel like, is mine already 1080? I just don't know. Logitech camera. These are all just garbage. Let's do, it's like high quality streaming camera. What about this one? It's from Best Buy. Oh, it's Black Friday. So I don't know. Vlog camera for vloggers. I'm not a vlogger though. I don't know. Does anybody know about cameras? Webcam marketplace is terrible when you're looking for a real camera. The one people tell me was the Sony 6700. Oh, look at that. Oh, I think it's the A6700. Here's the A6600. I really have to be treating myself to get one of these, huh? Oh, there we go. Holy crap. $3,000. Look up Razer Keo. Okay, I'll look that up in a second. Okay. Yeah. What the heck? Razer Keo. 60 FPS, adaptive light sensor, wide angle lens, adjustable field of view. It's actually pretty cheap. Huh. Phone is probably not worse than either, honestly. Maybe. Maybe that's good. QX. Oh, this one's got a light on it. This is the good one, though. Maybe this is the one I want to do. This is pretty cheap. It's normally $200. It's only $70. Interesting. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this. I gotta reach out to some people that know about cameras. Thing is, if we're gonna end up filming something, then we're gonna need better cameras. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, though. Let me see what's going on here. Oh yeah, we got a bunch of stuff we got to do here. Okay, what else are we gonna do? I'm probably gonna close my Twitter for now. Twitter's just, I can't keep up with Twitter anymore. It's too much. Oh, so yeah, I've got to make a compilation list. Let me put that on my list as well. I have a huge list of stuff to do, guys. Podcast compilation. Tomorrow we're gonna be streaming. We're gonna be getting ready for the Bob. Excuse me. Oh, boy, I was just eating. Bob Grenier interview. We got some things we need a clip as well. Hey, what's up, everybody? I didn't even post this on my Twitter, actually. I don't even think I'm going to. Although, yeah, I guess I can. Share Twitter. Suck. I hate how it puts like via YouTube. I just don't give a crap about all that. And Twitter is getting hammered. Like all these, they're like the full-on disinformation, trying to get people to cancel Twitter. It's going wild right now. All these, they're trying to like on Reddit, every single thread on the news subreddit is about somebody canceling their Twitter advertisements. It's like, Jesus, man. Reddit's such shit. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Will this work? Every single thread on the news. Okay, looks like that works. That's cool. I may delete that after and then repost it or something. Okay, but I want to show you guys how disinformation works real quick. Check out Reddit news, everybody. Let's see. Lionsgate suspends all advertising on Elon Musk's at X. This is the top post on the news subreddit. You guys think this is the most important news in the world right now? In the United States? Having Lionsgate suspend advertising on Elon Musk? That's the top thing on Reddit right now? I mean, Jesus. Oh, look. The next one is Apple, Disney, and IBM to pause news as well. Or pause advertising. Like, this is not organic at all. There's 0% chance this is organic. Yeah, we're probably going to get to 3,000, honestly, tonight. It might happen. I don't know. Yeah, so this is not organic. What else? Is there even more? Just, God, the news subreddit is just the freaking worst. I don't care about any of this crap. This is why I go to conspiracy when I want to figure out what the news is, because this is how bad this is now. He took a plea deal in the financial case. This is actually interesting. This should probably be at the top. And it's got 276 upvotes in 6 hours. Garbage. Let's see what's really happening in the news. I feel like if you guys are watching the movie Men in Black, or are you guys too young for that? The hot sheets, they have to go to like the you know, gimmick stuff for it. Although this subreddit too just is too much political crap. All I want is real conspiracy stuff. J6 tapes. Speaker. Oh, okay. Should I release the tapes? Whatever. What's this? Okay, here's something. Atmospheric nuclear tests. Were there really that many atmospheric nuclear tests? That's a lot of atmospheric nuclear tests. That might be relevant to us though. But yeah, Reddit's just ugh. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, what are we gonna do? Fake video requirements. I don't think we need more of that. Sure, save the video requirements. Pious questions we already did. Let's see what we got here. Sorry guys, I'm checking this out real quick. What's this link? Okay, so let's take a look at what we got here. Let's look at some videos while we're doing this. Some people might be wanting to know what the videos are. They were actually telling me they wanted to know what we were dealing with. What I want to do tomorrow is do a couple clips. I don't know if I'll live stream them. I might just do them privately. Do some shorts related to the videos, and just speak over the top of them like I am right now. Video shorts, and that way I can post them on Instagram and on Twitter and wherever else. Let me look at that. Do full screen. Maybe do it where like I have my camera in the corner, whatever, kind of like what you guys are seeing. Because I got people on Twitter asking me like, what's this all even all about, you know? My dog is walking by. Oh, yes. I have like the cutest dog in the world. Yes, are you a cute dog? She's more like a cat than a dog, though. I would send you guys pictures, but I'm being stalked on a lot of fronts here right now, so I don't really want people to see what my dog looks like. Do you know the difference between conspiracy and reality? A couple months. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, Reddit, man, is messing with people's minds. It's really messing with people's minds. It's really messed up. Cat dog. Yeah, I'd love to show you guys her, but not tonight, I don't think. Maybe another time. I don't want people to be able to stalk me or whatever. If somebody hurt my dog, that would probably be the only thing in the world that could make me lose my mind. Let me see here. I think we'll do a little, let's read some comments. I'm not really this kind of person, but I want to read some comments from a podcast that I was on recently.
I love that.
Whoa. Let's see here. I'm not even going to show them. I'm just going to read them off to you guys. I don't know shit about this guy. I never had any interest in MH370, but this guy presents some seriously interesting evidence. Like other commenters have pointed out, he's not pushing any sort of grift or anything with financial incentive for him in the end. All he's doing is presenting the evidence, open source information he gathered as evidence for a theory, just how these videos are real and why the incident would have occurred. I don't see the vitriol coming from a podcaster that a lot of people are complaining about, but I do see a complete unwillingness to accept anything this guy has to say as a possibility, especially given the title of the video. The podcaster seems hell-bent on debunking everything this guy presents for whatever reason. I've seen him have guests on here before, and he's obviously disingenuous and full of shit. And the podcaster lapped it up like a dehydrated dog. The episode where the guy claims to be a CIA contractor for Ground Branch comes to mind. Even basic cursory research on that guy showed he was full of shit. This guy presents a great case. Why have him on not to hear him out to the fullest extent? ? Or are you just having him on to debunk him? You should come with counterpoints or at least do some research into why he was saying what he's saying is wrong. Oof, embarrassing. 134 upvotes. Oof, brutal, guys. Good presentation here. I agree. The podcaster's gatekeeping of the information is super annoying. Let the man present his data and let people make up their own minds. The way you approve or poo-poo his research in real time with no research of your own is a constant annoyance. Guess there isn't going to be a part 2, which is a shame. The podcaster was such a douchebag and so confrontational. There's a right way and a wrong way to treat your guests. Having some manners is always the right way. And just in case you guys think I'm cherry picking, I'm not cherry picking. I'm literally just reading them right off the top. I love this show because I usually get to hear the guest perspective without interruptions. Today I got more of the podcasters. While this guy does make some great comments about extraordinary theories that seem somewhat elementary, I'd rather hear them through first before getting an interruption each time. Hey, podcaster, here's a tip. You can express your skepticism while letting your guest present his case at the same time. You have a real disagreeable manner, which will drive further potential future guests away from your show. The audience has their ability to assess his claims. You don't need to nitpick all the minutia. Now, here's another one. Did Bustamante set the podcaster up with a contract to shut this thing down? I love what the podcaster does, fan of this show, but this whole situation has a rough look for the podcaster. The hotel seems like a simple miscommunication, and Ashton acted emotionally brash about it, but as far as being receptive to new information, the podcaster has room to grow. I like that you challenge people, podcaster, but sometimes you should release the desire to win. The irony is that the podcaster themselves... Oh, I'm still wondering, what did you expose? He seems like a nice guy that genuinely believes he's onto something. He has some damn good evidence and theories. How does this man's intellectual pursuit hurt you at all? I'm not saying it does, but your defensiveness felt as you had everything to lose. I only interject because of your rude comments on Twitter about your guest. Saying he needs help, mental issues, you are looking like a fool. The irony of this podcaster giving me any advice... Yikes, man. Read your own comments of your own fans. These are the people that support you. Holy shit. This was easily the most meltdown I've ever seen on any interview ever from their own guests. These are the people that support the podcaster. Just to be very clear, podcaster and producer, I love you both. I'm the guy that knows the Marvel VFX guy that Ashton refers to in this episode. That was information I received from Jeffrey Ford as a personal request before I had Ashton on my podcast. Jeffrey said it would take someone really, really good, and this guy edited and constructed Infinity War, Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Captain America Civil War. He said he could not have made the videos in time for 4 to 6 days, even with all that, not with all that research information, knowledge of government systems, how they look, etc., on top of actually creating the video effects, editing, and then releasing it. I'm a fan of your show, but I think you got it wrong on this one. It was hard for me to accept. Okay, guys, should we go with the Marvel Studio expert who all he did, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of credentials. All he did was edit and construct Infinity War, Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Captain America Civil War? Or should we go with some guy named Nico who has a YouTube channel that debunks, makes fake videos? I don't know, guys. It's a tough one. Not sure who has more credibility. I'm not surprised at all that the podcaster's YouTube channel is dying. This was just embarrassing, and not for Ashton. I actually feel sorry for Ashton to even have to sit through all of this. Good on him for not getting up and walking out. These are the top comments, guys. I'm just reading them right off the top. Hey, podcaster, keep hustling, my dude. I love your content. I'm not going to harp on the same BS as everyone else. Maybe swallow your pride on this one. A blanket apology, and get him back on the show and wrap up anything you guys might have missed. I know it's tough. It's even tougher for us fans to see peeps beating up on you. Take it from a fellow New Jersey and South Jersey. Be the bigger man here. You got this. Spoiler, guys. He's not the bigger man. Boy, man, this is brutal. This is really brutal. Unhappy face. Come on, podcaster. I love your podcast and I'm super stoked to see you have on Ashton. But just seeing the title and the demeanor is hard to watch and listen to. I'm honestly let down. Come on, podcaster. You're better than this. I don't understand how so much hostility. Ashton seems cool. And I don't know the history here, but the vibes I'm getting from you is that you have some prior beef with your guest. Please leave the emotions out of your interviews. It becomes very unproductive and unprofessional. I'm super bummed to see you this way. I hope you both settle the situation and give your guest another chance. Pray face, or pray hands, heart, and then, I don't know, a box maybe? To me, this is a solid case. Deserves more attention. After all, many other unproductive investigations were made. This one has some potential. I'm not on Twitter, but I don't see what all the hate is with this guy. Just a normal conspiracy theory that may or may not be true. Nothing too outlandish by comparison to other guests. Here's another. I'm just going down the list, literally reading every single comment, by the way, guys. This isn't me cherry picking. You always point out the dumbest details as if you found some smoking gun without any journalistic investigation of your own, but never do the same for more famous, even more theory-based guests that you've had on previously. As I told Ashton, I ran the videos by my friend who works at General Atomics and is an expert on those specific drones. He builds them. He knows everything there is to know about them. And he says the videos, in his opinion, does appear to be from one of their drones. Beyond that, he didn't have anything else to say except for, damn, that shit is crazy. Ashton is a legend. No need to put pressure on him. Rather put pressure on those telling false narratives for years. I guarantee you, if anyone would have done half the legwork this guy had done, you would know for sure, for a fact, there's a lot of shit we don't know. So I don't know. I think that's just a few of them. Thought that was kind of fun. Can just read up some of those comments. Those are just some of like the 20 top comments on this thing. Yeah, I'd say, if that's the kind of comments you're getting back from your own fan base, oof. Yikes, guys. Yikes. I'm not sure how it can get any worse than that. It's about as bad as it gets. Okay, that was fun. So I don't know. I think if that podcaster was giving people advice, maybe he should read his own comments from his own fans. Maybe he should take his own advice. Just thinking. Okay, let's see what else we got, guys. I'll put a little video on in the background. Where's my side by side? So we can watch the videos here while I'm answering some questions in the chat. Okay. Yeah, everybody has the opportunity to learn from their mistakes. This is from my chat now. Everybody has the opportunity to learn from their mistakes. I hope he takes advantage of this and improves. I do too. I hope he's able to remove the emotion. This is just my opinion. I hope he's able to remove the emotion next time. Just because you're wrong doesn't mean you have to try to cut down the guests. It's not really good if you're a podcaster like that. Yeah, the oxygen thing is just irrelevant, you know? Like that's why it's kind of stupid, right? That's why if you hear me responding on when we were talking about oxygen, it's like fine, you're right about oxygen. I just literally don't care. It's not relevant. The plane didn't crash into the South Indian Ocean, so since the plane didn't crash into the South Indian Ocean, the whole pirate suicide thing is just stupid and irrelevant. Trying to harp on whether or not you can get in the cockpit or if there's enough oxygen, like you might want to do your research first. The oxygen it potentially runs out in 30 minutes. At best, you can have a couple hours. This plane supposedly flew for 8 hours, so you know. Where is the Nico from the Corridor Crew video? No, I don't think so. I think we're probably gonna have to wait until this weekend or until Danny releases it. I hope Danny does not edit it in a dishonest way, but we've got no way to know. Honestly, that's why I went ahead and I made the video ahead of time, which let's go ahead and watch. I'll put the sound down for it too. We're gonna watch the video I made. So just to give you guys the background on this, I went ahead and while I was on a podcast, and this is actually from one of the other podcasters, the podcaster that we're talking about, podcaster here, from their podcast I was on, he was telling me that he had a major studio that was going to reproduce the videos in just a couple days. That's what he claimed to me. And that obviously did not happen. And so instead, it turned out that they had this clip ready to go. And while I was on the Danny Jones podcast, and he played it right at the end, which I'm guessing he's going to edit it so that it's right in the beginning or something like that. So he plays it at the end, and he definitely thought it was going to be some kind of gotcha. Like I could look at the smile in his face, a little smirk, right? And like it's definitely going to be some kind of gotcha or something like that. And I was expecting it to be like a recreation of the videos, right? Like I knew that he was friends with Julian, or yeah, whatever. And so I thought, okay, it's going to be a situation where they're going to try to get me or whatever. And so I was expecting it to be something like kind of amazing, right? Like, okay, here we go. And I get there and I'm listening. And it's just literally this guy, Nico. He's got this smuggest look on his face. Like he's so confident, which is just hilarious. Because he just starts listing off all the Metabunk things. Like he's just literally like, I'll pull it up because I think I should have a link to the Metabunk thing. Metabunk airliner. Here it is. This is such a joke. So it's just literally like he clearly just went through this thread. Like he literally just Googled it and went through this thread. He didn't do anything himself. And I didn't even spell his name right. Whatever, doesn't matter. He discredited the hell out of himself anyway. He just went through this thread and clearly just picked out everything he thought that they were saying in here. But he didn't even look to see if like they had been refuted or anything like that. He just literally went through and picked out everything out of here that he thought they were mentioning. Like, oh, there's no parallax and it must be daytime and all this stuff. So then I'm just sitting there like while he's showing me the video and I'm like, he really just went through the Metabunk thread and just posted it. Even the VFX debunk, like that was the last one. He's like, and the coup de grace, the VFX debunk, this is easily the best one. And so I'm just sitting there writing it all down, right? Because I'm like, okay, I want to make sure I hit every single point. And I have like, clips for everything as we're going to see here. So I'm writing it all down. And Danny's like, are you watching? Are you watching? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm watching. I'm taking notes so I can be ready to debunk this, right? And these people in this thread are some of the most delusional people in the whole face of the planet, right? We're not even going to go through and give them credit. So this is what happens. Hey, everybody. This is Ashton Forbes from MH370x. Recently, I was on a podcast where Nico from the Corridor Crew attempted to debunk our real MH370x videos. Problem was he made several false statements that discredit his position, unfortunately. So I want to go ahead and just review those real quickly. The one thing that he did get accurate was that there's no discrepancies anywhere out through these videos. He said that they're perfect. They are perfect because they're real. Now, if you look through them, that was my favorite. Several times he says they're perfect. Yeah, they are perfect, man, because you're looking at real videos. They're not fake. That's why there's no discrepancies in a single frame. You can see that this type of stuff that we're seeing on here is not types of things anyone would be able to fake. So that's the good part is right away, these are original works of art. We're not copying from anything else, right? How are people faking these orb movements? How are they faking the lines in front of them, right? Of course, he doesn't mention any of that. But let's just go into all the details. First of all, I want to point out that what we're seeing coming from the back of this plane is smoke. It's not contrails like Nico implied. So first thing he talks about is how he thinks it's contrails. It's like, okay, man, that's when I knew right away. And I stopped him right there in the podcast. Okay, so stop right there. Like, he's already got the first thing wrong, right? He obviously hasn't even looked into any of this. He doesn't realize these are cumulus clouds here and that we're not looking at contrails. So right away, he's already discredited himself, like, completely. But I said, okay, let's keep going. Keep going. Now, if we look at this here, you can see that actually what happens here when this smoke stacks up is that. So this is funny. He actually comments on this part right here where you can see the smoke stacking up, where it gets darker, where it gets like lighter here because the smoke is getting thicker from the angle. He claims that this isn't accurate because that's not how contrails work. Well, that's how smoke works. Actually accurate because what we're seeing is the smoke's becoming thicker based on our perspective as the drone flies underneath it here. The next thing that Nico got wrong was that the clouds supposedly don't move. Yeah, he claims the clouds don't move. Like, that's like one of the earliest debunks. This is where I knew for sure all he did was just look at the Metabunk thread and didn't do anything else after that. Actually move. Here's the explanation for the clouds moving. The clouds actually move. It's not as simple as horizontal. There's also another person who thinks is a debunker. I think it was the same person who posted the Zap accurately illuminated clouds. He actually said as well that one of the things that you can't argue about is the clouds moving. They do move if you just take a 15-second snippet. I didn't pull that one up on this, but that's also out there. Movement, as some may expect, on a 3D rendered screen. The clouds are moving realistically. And look, here's the clouds accurately illuminating the Zap. He also says that when the Zap happens, they don't accurately illuminate. You should have seen Danny's face when I pull up the accurate illumination. Him and his producer were looking at it going like their minds were just broken. Like they were just wondering like, no, it can't be right. I'm like, dude, there's literal proof that the clouds are accurately illuminated. Let's go take a look at those. Like, I don't know, man. These guys really, really thought they had it. Very clearly, the clouds are actually wiggling, just as we might expect from clouds moving. Now, in addition to this, Nico claimed that there was not parallax, but there actually is parallax. We've proven actually to 2 different videos that there's parallax. Yeah, the part about him not claiming there's parallax is the weirdest part, because the weird part is in his video he's not looking at the side by side. So why would you claim there should be parallax if you're not looking at a side-by-side? When you are looking at the side-by-side, we've proven that this is parallax. So let's go ahead and prove right now that there is. And look at this post. That post, I skimmed through it really fast, but it actually has the full breakdown in the parallax part as well. This here that we're looking at, this video, this one right here, the original Regicide video, the first one that ever went out, 100% has parallax in it. That's not a debate. It just objectively does. So, you know, if Nico... So I know there's this guy, Estimate of the Situation out there that keeps falsely claiming that there's not parallax. Parallax, William, is that there's 2 cameras. So these videos here, when we see them... Actually, let me just pull up the actual one. I actually have the better one, I think. That's proof that it's stereoscopic. Don't I have the other better stereoscopic one here? Give me one sec. Here we go. Okay, this is because now for people who are not sure about parallax, yeah, it's how you get depth. So the only way you would have depth is that there's 2 cameras that are slightly different angles. So in this situation here, it's not that these are duplicated. These are 2 slightly different angles here. And what that means is you can see if you overlay them, you can see that they're not the same angle, which would be indicative of 2 different satellites that are next to each other in outer space. Now, Danny Jones, I'm going to be honest, guys, he was pretty nice, okay? I mean, I don't know how it's going to come out. He's going to edit it down from like 4.5 hours to 3 hours, so there's a chance that it gets butchered, right? And maybe he's just lying to me in text messages, but I think he's a good guy. So if you fast forward this, you can see that he basically assigns the things here, and he overlays them. And then so... he switches between A and B here so that we're going to be able to see the parallax so that we can see that they're not the same angle. So he's right there. So all you have to do is show this. Now you can see there's parallax effect. That's parallax right there. Because you're switching between the angles. And just to be 100% sure, he zooms in for us. Just to be really, really sure. Zooms in. You can see the clouds wiggling. We can see the parallax effect. No question. This is parallax. And I love how, like, I mean, it's hard to not be confident when people are just, like, this wrong. But just to keep adding to it, just to really drive the point home here, just because the guy was so cocky and confident when he was wrong about everything. Like, you know, especially when people are trying to say that I'm cocky and confident, like, don't bring on a guy that's just like objectively wrong about everything. Where is it? Man, the red and blue glasses. Sorry, I'm digging for the thing. But again, you can see the wiggling. I'm just going to let you guys see that while I look for the video. Where did I put it? I may have to go to my Google Drive. I don't know why I keep losing my videos. But yeah, so there, now you can really see the parallax right there, right? I mean, it's just wild, man. Blur. But I had everything ready to go pretty much. So I'll let this keep playing. So, you know, if Nico had gone and done his homework, he would have found that people have already posted all this information to Reddit. This is by someone named something something B. And he goes ahead and takes the original video and he uses this editing software to lay it over the top where you can see the parallax effect very clearly. We have another more detailed version of this, which I showed on the Danny Jones podcast, that shows absolute proof of parallax between these videos. Now, in addition to this, there was a question about whether or not there was blur. There is blur as well. In fact, when the orbs pass through the back of the plane, they do get accurate. And this blur part, I might have misinterpreted his blur part. I'm not sure. So if he has any other follow-up on the blur part and wants to let me know, happy to debunk literally any aspect of these videos. Still looking for my red and blue glasses one. Why did I not find it? Purely distorted. Look at that. Not just that. I don't get it. But we can actually see blur in the final frame, as well as the orbs actually bending. This is a very detailed thing to put into your hoax video. And why would you do it just in the final frame there? Unless, otherwise, this is actually just a plane accelerating, like we would expect from an accurate camera. Now, one of the other false statements that he made is that he said that the ZAP isn't accurately illuminating the clouds. This one, I couldn't believe it. Wrong again. The ZAP actually does accurately illuminate the clouds in the foreground and in the background, as well as the clouds that are too far away to not be lit up. I couldn't believe he made this claim about the clouds. Like, this is a debunker that actually proved that the clouds accurately illuminate. A guy who literally, if you go to the link where this comes from, he put a disclaimer at the top because he didn't think the videos are real. And he was upset because people kept using this as a source, so he wanted to try to drive disinformation and make people think it was fake. Even the debunkers said that the clouds are accurately illuminated. Another false statement that he made was that our videos were at daytime. These videos are actually at nighttime. This is indicated by the coordinates that we see down here in the bottom left of the satellite video that indicate it to be at the Nicobar Islands at 2:40 a.m. Pitch black. Moon was down. We've checked. Sun was down. There's a witness who saw the plane here as well as an intercepted SOS communication, only reported in Chinese news. What we're looking at here in the satellite video is something called false color IR. In fact, it's most likely a computer-generated battlefield map. This is indicated by the fact that it's 6 frames per second out of a very wide field of view, which we've proven because we can see this mouse go off the screen to the top right, bottom left, to the left side as well, indicating that this is a cropped field of view. Now we can show this.
Global persistent infrared surveillance continues.
Because we can go ahead and look at this video from Lockheed Martin. This is publicly available. Look at that. These satellites are scanning the Earth all the time. This actually explains as well why we don't see more apparent movement from the satellites. Because they're sending this data and is building a... Oops. Oh, that's fine. It would be too difficult. For some reason, my red-blue videos just won't even download. Like, I just pulled it off my Google Drive, and it's still not there. Like, I don't know. Why is it not showing up? Like, it's filtered or something. Whatever. I'm just going to probably pull it up here. How many times do I have to download this for it? Like, I know it should be on my computer, too. That's the thing I'm kind of weirded out about. Because I want to prove, people don't think that it's 3D. Like, that the parallax means it's 3D as well. So you can overlay it, and you can produce a real 3D video. which is like, I don't know, people don't want to think that's real. Where is it? Red. What the? Oh, there it is. Download. Okay. Okay, guys, welcome to 3D. There it is. You can turn it into actual 3D. So, yeah. It's 3D. It's a 3D video. This is only possible because we're looking at parallax, two side-by-sides. So whoever claims that we can't, maybe show them the stream, I guess. I don't know, you know? Show them the stream, not sure. Yeah, now you can tell them, you can tell your son what parallax is.
Figure this out otherwise. It's also apparent because we don't see atmospheric distortion from the satellite shooting down, which is similar to what we saw from the Trump picture.
Yeah, I should pull up the Trump picture. Trump picture. ST. I think I have this on my files here. Trump satellite. See, looks a lot like this. Should have added this one in there, but I had like so many things open right here when I was trying to make this video. So our video looks very similar to this. Very, very similar. In fact, the angle is the same as well. So, interesting enough, our satellite and their satellite was potentially up at the same year. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just a coincidence.
Now, in addition to this, he had questions about the thermal camera. Well, spoiler again, this is not a thermal camera. This is an electric.
He thought that we were looking at here as a thermal camera. Actually, Danny was confused on this as well, thinking that we were looking at thermal. So, they try to keep pulling up these janky commercial thermal cameras. They don't realize this is like one of the most advanced cameras in the world. This is an electro IR camera from Raytheon. And so this electro IR camera has built-in software where you can add in over the top, the thermal layer over the top.
Anyway, IR camera. And he questioned why the clouds would be so accurate or why they'd be so detailed. And again, this is an indication that the videos are just real to have these very detailed clouds. This is an electro IR camera with the thermal layer added over the top by the leaker, indicating that the leaker was an operator. We believe this camera is a Raytheon camera, probably one of the most advanced cameras in the world for 2014. Now, we have more evidence of that. Somebody reached out to me directly, and they told me that they thought that this was accurate because they ran it by one of their friends who works at General Atomics, who's an expert on these drones. Turns out they actually posted in the comments of one of the videos after they reached out to me. And they said it appears to be from one of their drones, potentially the MQ-1C Gray Eagle.
So we got a literal guy whose
all.
friend is an expert.
In addition to this, we have to address some other things as well.
So that wasn't even enough. So then after that, I wanted to go ahead and I really wanted to drive the point home that these videos are real. So not only did he debunk every single thing that he claimed, then I went ahead and did some additional work.
How'd they know what the weather looked like?
How'd they know what the weather looked like, chat? How did they know what the weather looked like at the location?
As we can see from this weather time lapse, we have the exact.
So they were like, hey guys, you know what? We're going to build some coordinates. We're going to make it the exact same location that the plane was, even though all this information was being obfuscated for months afterwards. We somehow know everything about it. We know where the plane was. We're going to go ahead and pull up the NASA weather satellite too and make sure we get the perfect cumulus clouds built into the background as well.
Accurate weather here in these low altitude cumulus clouds showing up on the NASA weather view.
Look, that one right there. I mean, look at this. These are our clouds right here. Right in the same exact location. So, I mean, boy, they got the weather correctly too. I mean, boy, these people are really committed to the lie. That's a lot of information to figure out for just either 4 days or 72 days.
In the exact.
With no AI tools and no deepfake technology and using computers and software from before 2014.
Right location as well. That's a pretty impressive detail to put into your fake video. Not just that, the coordinates that we mentioned in the videos as well. How would they get that coordinates correct? These coordinates down here indicate that
these coordinates are 6 decimal places. 6 decimal places on these coordinates. So they built in accurate coordinate. They built a program that not even Google has here that will actually move the picture correctly to 6/4. And it doesn't just like shift from like it's at this point to this point. Like it's slow. The numbers go up like accurately. Like it's clearly moving in real life.
This would require building another program that you would overlay.
I'd love to see Mick West or anybody else try to debunk all this. Please.
6 decimal places while the mouse moves.
They can't. Is the reality.
That's pretty impressive.
It's a joke.
But let's go ahead and get to the coup de grace, the VFX debunk. Now, when we look at this VFX debunk, I want to first of all state as a statement of fact that even on a single frame, it doesn't match. Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, guys. My butt is not your butt because they both have similar buttholes on them. You can't use prosaic debunks, especially when we've already shown that what we're looking at here is a Citrix session indicated by the mouse logged in over the actual satellite database. 6 frames per second versus 24 frames per second. But let's look at it anyway.
Like, look at this. It's close, but it doesn't match. But the reason why it's close is because they literally found an asset that was similar and then lined it up, but only at this little point right here. It's like, oh, okay,
sure. You
can
tell the middle doesn't match.
It's like only on this edge they match it up.
Only one dot that's in the right location.
Only one dot in the right spot. Do not match. The middle isn't even close to the same.
So again, as a statement of fact, what we're looking at here.
Look at this. The middle is not even close to the same.
They're similar. But all dispersion patterns are similar. Not just that. If we were to actually overlay.
All dispersion patterns are similar. Just like all buttholes are similar. Doesn't mean they're all the same. Lazy debunkers like Mick West who think everything looks like a balloon, that's always their go-to. You have to expect it's always going to be some prosaic, this looks like this. The fact that there was a guy from the Corridor crew who claims to be an expert, who is the one who is saying that in his mind is a perfect match, it really discredits them. If you don't have two eyeballs, you can't tell that those two things aren't the same, then really you're not in the business to be telling anybody else what's real and what's fake. So honestly, at this point, this is so bad that everything the Corridor crew puts out should be put into question. At this point, you should assume that everything they put out is incorrect.
Let me go ahead and pull the overlay up.
So I hope that he won't actually post that video, because if he posts this video after I've already debunked every single thing he claims, then he has absolutely no credibility and he's doing so in bad faith.
You can see that it's not even close. On one single frame, you can see here, that is the frame that they have matched here, or tried to match up the best of their ability. And you can see it still doesn't match. The rest of them aren't even remotely
The rest
close.
of these frames, look at this frame. Look at this extra blast they've got going on here. Please, Nico or anyone from the Corridor crew, please stream, pull up a computer. I'm sure you've got a computer back there from 2013 somewhere. Use some old janky software from 2013. I want to watch you change all the pixels around. I want to watch it in real time. I'll sit there with you all day long for 12 hours, 24 hours, however long it takes. I'll just watch with you. And I'm just going to laugh at you the whole time.
You can see these extra blast visuals here that don't exist in ours at all. The amount of effort to move these pixels around would be astronomical. In fact, I want to remind Nico and the Corridor crew that we're not looking at something that reproduced from something else. This would be an original work of art.
It's important, guys. It's an original work. So somebody just magically was able to figure out which pixels they needed to change in order to get it to look like this. They weren't comparing. They were just like, okay, let's remove some pixels over here. Let's remove some pixels over here. Let's remove all this inside pixels. Why? I don't know. Just cause I know exactly that it should look like this black ring. Doesn't make any sense.
So what I'd also say is, how many pixels match? If I were to estimate here, I'd say that probably less than 50% of these pixels match. Now, in addition
that's
to
the best
this,
part. How many pixels match, guys? If they ever say these match, all you have to say, how many pixels match. That enrages them. Because they know that the pixel matching on here it might even be less than 50% if you count the blue and stuff like that. It might actually be like 20% pixels. It could even be less than that. Like, it's just straight up like almost nothing.
The VFX that they used here was actually the higher quality one. If you were to pull back and look at the lower quality VFX from the original game, it's of much lower quality. Now, when I
asked about the lower quality VFX, they go, oh, well, but you know that those could have been on some file somewhere else. And I said, well, that doesn't change the VFX. That doesn't change. It was updated back in the 90s. You can't use a version from 2015. Doesn't matter if it's from the game or, somewhere else. The whole point is it's a lower quality VFX than the one they used.
Ask Nico here, and let's just pull up that lower quality visual effect to really drive it home. This doesn't
look how
anything like
pixelated
ours.
this is.
This is
that-
very low quality.
It's a 90s visual effect. They're really going to try to claim there's a 90s visual effect in there.
This is somehow a match.
Of course, they use the 2015
What we're looking
version.
at here. What I would ask is go ahead and stream it. Go ahead and pull stream up. I want you to go ahead and move all the pixels around for us. Use a computer from 2014 as well, and software from 2014, just to really drive it home. Tell us how many hours it takes to move all the pixels around individually.
And all the
When
blue
we
has to
finish
be
that
moved
one
too.
frame, then we can work on the other ones as
All the blue pixels would have to be moved as well because the VFX doesn't have any of this blue in it as well. So literally, this is actually probably less than 20% of the pixels match. Maybe even less than 10% of the pixels match.
as well.
Like, anyone who thinks these
once
things
again,
match
guys,
is
as a
just
statement of
living in
fact,
another reality.
This Pyromania VFX debunk that comes directly from Metabunk, from a guy named Mick West who has no credibility, does not match. This effect is not in our MH370 videos. I appreciate the effort, but next time, do your homework. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you listening.
Sorry I had to be so rude, but, you know, when you come out with a snarky video where you think you're going to try to get me, boy, don't get every single thing wrong. Again, this is like the podcaster trying to do some gotcha on me, and it just backfiring spectacularly, right? It's a bad look. It's a bad look, you know? And, you know, before they try to edit it out or anything, I'm on it. That's why I kept the notes, so I could go ahead and debunk that before it even gets to that point. Okay, let's see here. What do we got? Yeah, so I stopped doing the music in the background, guys. Sorry about that. I did lower the music level on after we finished that one. So, yeah. Let me see what we got here. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. We got some Salvatore Pais science to do. I'm actually going to, if you guys want to watch, just going to show you guys here. If you want to watch along here, this stream, we're going to go live in 3 minutes. This is going to be me. I'll post it in the chat for you guys. I'm probably going to turn the sound off on this because I know what I did. I've already watched. And I'm going to just answer questions in this chat over here. So what I'll do is I'll probably pop this chat out. If you guys want to watch along, feel free. And then I'll probably just answer questions in the chat over here while we're working on other stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think my job's going to fire me. I mean, if they do, that'd be pretty weird. There's nothing I'm doing that's wrong. But yeah, there's no logical argument that, and so the other thing too is that, and I think I mentioned this in the podcast, but I didn't mention it on that video I just made, is that you can't just say this doesn't look right. You got to give me a full story. Who made this, right? When did they make it? What time frame? How did they pull that off? It would take a team of people to produce it with no errors, with not one mistake on a single frame. Okay. I really question whether or not people can tell the difference between reality and fiction. So especially like younger generation, no offense to anybody who's on here, but definitely makes me question. I do want to make some shorter videos. Yes, I did interview Salvatore Pais. You should be able to see that if you go look at my older live streams. I am going to upload that. That's something else that I want to do as well. Have people come to me at work about this? How should I answer that? Yes, there's a couple people that have mentioned that they've seen me on some social medias and stuff like that, which is pretty funny. And I just say, yeah, sure. You know, that's fine. I talk to them in private if they want, but I got to focus on work when I'm at work. Yeah, the denial is really, really awkward. Yeah, I mean, working at a large tech company, there were some people as well that found me on other platforms and stuff like that. But you know, I've talked to my company already ahead of time about the situation. I was perfectly honest with them about the whole situation, right? Just because I knew that there would be like maybe crazy people out there that might try to contact my work. So I told them that if anybody were to contact them, just to get their names and call the authorities right away on them. So I think that prevents most people because they realize they don't want to, go to jail or anything like that. Because I mean, when you're talking about somebody who has a government clearance, like, and the people that were like risking, some people were gonna like call on my clearance. Like that person was definitely trying to get other people to do it. So just a spoiler, guys, do not call the government to report my clearance. If you do that, that's a really good way to get arrested. Definitely don't do that. And let's be honest, the government knows, right? They're the ones who are keeping the secret. So they know if they were to do something like that, it would reveal that what I'm disclosing is the truth. So they're kind of stuck. They can't really do much, right? They have to just use their minions on social media. They're like little criminal buddies and what have you that they've most likely turned or whatever. Their troll army or their sock puppets and what have you, because they can't tie any of their real names to it. They're in a stuck situation, right? I mean, maybe if they come out and admit it's real, then yeah, it'll be interesting. Then we'll see what they do. But if that were to happen, they were to admit it's real, then I'll probably become one of the most famous people on the planet. Not that I want that, by the way. That's just the situation we're in now. You just have to kind of come to terms with it, right? Yeah, I think a lot of our time is spent. There's people too that are like, they had a couple of people today messaging on Twitter claiming that like they can prove that it's fake and stuff like that. It's just ridiculous. A lot of people are just like, I don't know, gatekeeper. Gatekeeper type people, right? People that just they want everything to be about themselves. Some people are like, oh, but he has everything about himself. Not really. Like I've been saying from the beginning, anybody could do this, man. If people think that they want to be this person, that they want to be me who's doing this right now, well, you should have been it. You should have been the person that stood up, I think that's a valuable lesson for people to learn, is that any of you could be me right now. And maybe the next thing that will come up, you can be, right? The next big conspiracy that'll come up, there's more out there, right? Be brave. Stand up. Stand up for what you believe in against the face of everybody who's telling you you're wrong. Yeah, so Justin, exactly. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then they build monuments to you is the actual quote. So first they try to ignore you, right? Then our channel gets too big. Then they try to mock and ridicule you, right? And that they tried that as well. That all failed. Then they try to fight you. That's the stage we're on now, where they are all trying to like, get me on their podcast to like try to belittle me or whatever. And then in the end, after it gets proven real, then they want to build monuments to you. And that's the last thing that I want. I don't want anyone to be building monuments to me. I don't want to be worshipped. I don't want anything like that. I'm just a normal person. Interviews coming with real people. Let's see. Yeah, we posted... Did we post the Richard Seifert one? That one was pretty good. Yeah, then they try to put you in jail. Yeah, that's the real story of how it's probably going to play out. Try to put me in jail after that. Yeah, I don't support reporting people for things, but yeah, you do what you feel is comfortable, right? I'm not going to tell you no. I have Coast to Coast AM. I'm going to be on Coast to Coast AM, guys. I'll tell you when it gets a little bit closer on the day of that, but yeah, I'm going to be on Coast to Coast AM. It's already been booked and what have you. And it came out in the Richard Seifert interview as well, so people are aware. So yeah, that's going to be pretty fun. And we have some other big news as well. So if you're watching right now, the Oppenheimer Ranch interview has started right now. Yeah. Yeah, okay, before I get into that, yeah, so somebody said, the way the guy made you angry, you handled it well. You have better composure than I would have. I would have reacted differently as such an arrogant and pompous D-head. I hate bullies. Yeah, you have to realize, like, when you are caught, when you're on camera like that, too, you have to even act better. But I'm not the kind of person that's going to, stoop to that level. If somebody, like, what happened with the podcaster happens, like, you just have to rise above it, because I knew while that was happening that he was going to look terrible, right? That normal people that look at that and watch that are going to realize, like, that doesn't look good. You never want to be the person when you are the interviewer. You never want to be looking like a D-bag. If you look like a D-bag when you're the interviewer, it's going to come off so bad, right? Because you're the person who's invited them on. They're providing you content.
and you're gonna try to tear them down. It's like it only that only works if that's the person who's the interviewee, right? If they act like a d-bag, then you can play it out like that. But if they don't, and they're just acting nice, and you just have a smile on your face, like that just makes them look terrible. Like exactly what you're saying, you know, in the chat, which is it winds people up because people see that you're just acting terrible, right? So you never want to do that. That's why when I do my podcasts, like you're never going to see me act like that. Not in a million years. First of all, I would never invite anybody on just to tear them down. Never would do that. That's just the scummiest, dishonest thing that you could possibly do. To bring somebody on your podcast to think you're going to tear them down, you're a terrible person if you do that. Terrible person. I would never do that. So anyway, I'm having, the Richard Syrett podcast was, sorry, I butchered his name, Richard Syrett. It was too short, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, you can't get through everything. Just not enough time. It really requires about 2 hours, maybe, possibly. One sec. So I do have some announcements for we're going to have to get prepared for Bob Greenyer on Sunday tomorrow. So we'll be doing some streaming, getting ready for Bob Greenyer. We have Hard Truths number 2 on Sunday with Bob Greenyer. We're going to be going over fractal toroidal moments. We'll probably be looking at the videos as well. And I want him to explain to me. First, I'm going to probably have Bob, tell me about his science and stuff like that. And then that YouTube link should be working. No, it definitely works. We'll be doing fractal toroidal moments. And then after fractal toroidal moments, we'll probably have him, explain. I want him to explain the science to me. Then I want him to go over the videos potentially. And yeah, probably be like an hour, hour and a half with Bob. The week after Bob, the week of the Sunday after Thanksgiving, which, what day is that? I think it's like 26th. Let me look. Yeah. So the 19th will be with Bob. I'll probably start promoting that tomorrow. And then the 26th, I'll be meeting with Dave Rossi, who is Generation Z podcast. And at some point, I'll probably be going on his podcast as well. So that's been booked as well. And in addition to that, I have another announcement, which is somewhat tentative, but almost, I think, booked. December 3rd, the week after that, I'll be having a joint panel podcast with Dave Rossi once again and Salvatore Pais. We're going to have Salvatore Pais and Dave Rossi head-to-head going through science. I can't wait. I can't wait to learn a bunch of information. So yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. And I can't wait for all that, honestly. Where does my work ethic come from? I'm actually a super lazy kind of guy, generally. Is it a cold case? What do you guys think? Is it a cold case? I don't think so. Let's link the evidence for them, right? Let's link them to evidence. That's why I have my evidence link right at the top. I'll answer some questions in our chat as well, same time, guys. So our chat, and I guess I don't need this. I'm not sure why I'm wearing this. How did I? Okay, let's do. Oh boy, that's hard. I don't have the headphones on. What do we think the orbs are? We think the orbs are a plasma ball. So if we look at the one I posted.
Take a look at this, guys. You guys definitely need to check out this post, okay? We've got so many notifications today, too. So this paper by Salvatore Pais explains how the orbs ignore gravity, how they make their own geodesics, how they're inducing the singularity, how we can get fusion power, which might be free energy, and how it could destroy the planet. Now, if you scroll down through here, being enclosed in a vacuum plasma shield. This sounds exactly like what's happening with the orbs. Like everything I read in this paper, and I linked them all here. You can zoom in and check them out, right? If you want. Or download them, I'm not sure. That's all this stuff is just directly copy and pasted from there. It explains everything. Room temperature superconductivity. Local phase transition. Smooth sailing of the hybrid craft. How you can do nuclear fusion, how the energy can be amplified. Like literally everything in this paper. It's wild. Okay. How do I reply to people? Let's see what else we got in some of these chats here. I want to answer some of these chats for people. And if anyone's jumping in and following on our stream, well, yeah. Thank you for that. Actually, I might play the sound here. Maybe we'll just watch. I'll play it really quiet. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, even if you disagree with people, you should have a certain etiquette. 100%. But I would never invite somebody on my show that I'm going to disagree with. I'm going to mute this for a second. How did I hook up with Salvatore Pais? Somebody said, hey, you should hit up Salvatore Pais. And I was like, oh, yeah, but I don't have his email. And I think somebody found it or something. So I emailed him. I thought there's no way he was going to respond, right? Like most other people haven't responded to me. He responds to me the next morning. He's like, he watched the videos clearly watched the videos. And like, he can't make any official statement on the videos, but man, yeah, and ever since, like, we've been emailing back and forth almost every single day at this point. Yeah, I really like him a lot. I'm a big fan of his. I was actually a big fan of his before all this, before when I saw these papers in 2018. I remember reading his papers thinking, wow, this just makes sense. Like, I'm not a physics expert, but I can like visualize what he's talking about, right? And just looking at it, I kept thinking, as an investigator, I'm reading his papers and I'm going, how did he know all this? Like, this isn't the kind of information you just dream up, right? Especially as I read that, like, and I watched some of his interviews, his earlier interviews from years ago, and I read that, yeah, you have to go through this whole process. You can't just patent anything. And that's all the disinformation out there. So this is where I go through this. I'll go ahead and unmute it. This one on the left, I had seen this in 2014, and a lot of other people saw it in 2014 as well. And back then, I just had no idea to understand what I was even looking at. So let me start from the beginning here. These are side-by-side videos. We have independent videos that you can pull up, but I like to show it side-by-side so you can actually see that they're perfectly in sync with one another. See what else we got going on here. You see this plane, and right away here, I'm going to pause it. You can see the smoke trail coming out of the plane in both videos. We know this is smoke because these cumulus clouds here only form in low altitudes, and you can kind of see how low they are compared to the plane. Contrails only form at 30,000 feet, so that means that this is not contrails we're seeing.
Well,
right
contrails form between 18,500 and 28,000 feet.
And what we're looking at here
And
is
contrails do not come from the tail of the plane; they come from the engines. So there would be two trails merging as one. That's not what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
So when I saw the evidence and your interpretation, I think that you're correct here. There's probably some kind of fire on the plane.
Exactly. So we think there's a fire, which would be indicative of these lithium-ion batteries that are on this plane, 221 kilograms of them. Now watch it. You see this orb and how fast this orb just flew in off the side of the screen here? This orb is going like Mach 3, like 2,000 miles an hour. And we can estimate that because it's going between 10 and 13 times faster than the plane. And
this plane is actually descending, making a turn, a standard circle turn. So that means it's going between 150 and 200 miles an hour at this point. Now the orb ricochets past the plane, turns around like a boomerang, and starts circling. Now this is the part where you can see the second orb. What's going to happen here is right
I don't
near
know what
the
this
water
means.
level, this orb is going to shoot across the water.
How do I get this to go away?
Cloud. It's going to join the first orb. So there it comes up through the water. It's hard to see in this version, but there it is. And then a third orb comes flying out of the side of the screen. Now we have
Now what I see there, Ashton, is the first orb. It's almost like has missile detection. It comes up and it detects the object, and then it reads it first in 2 dimensions before the other ones come and join it. It almost like gives
lithium batteries, 221 kilograms.
nothing, you know, so that they're in perfect unison when they get up there.
Yeah, like it misses it, right? Like in the beginning, it like circles to the side of it, like it's trying to figure out where it is,
Switches.
right?
Weird,
Exactly. But and this is for the first part where I'm like, okay, this is some kind of like tracking, where it's tracking the plane, and then the other ones come flying in, and they don't do that same thing. They immediately are right on it.
Yeah, they know where it is because of the other unit. Now, before we go any further, back in 2014, when they did investigations into the
it does look like a 3D modeling scan. It really
Did
does.
they know about this lithium-ion payload, and was it ever discussed?
We found some articles that actually do discuss it, but very, very few. It's almost never discussed in any official narrative.
Let's see.
The fire scenario gets ruled out. I'm trying to remember what the exact reason.
Spaced Out Radio has at least 2 hours for hosts. Is Spaced Out Radio Coast to Coast AM? I don't know.
Looked at, all the articles, and then the final.
Yeah, it's
article
probably American Tech. I mean, they're the ones who are
had
implicated.
the 5 theories.
Sorry, I'm trying to answer questions in 2 different
that
chats.
One of the pilots, you know.
Why am I grinding while juggling a job? I don't know, because nobody else is doing it. I wish somebody else had done this early on. I tried to get all the media to do it. I tried to get all the UFO people to do it. Nobody would do it. So I just said, whatever, we're doing it. I don't care. I never expected to be in this position. Not in my whole life. Never.
We didn't know how dangerous they were back in 2014. If you go to the FAA's website.
Yeah, they probably deployed some tech to save these 20 free-skill semiconductor scientists. We talk about that here.
And they actually banned them in the cargo bay of airplanes in 2015, the next year.
And
Theoretically could be a wormhole, but
they would have been separated from the passengers, so they might have not died from the lithium.
I don't think it was, but it could be.
Cargo bays are actually built to withstand fires up to like 1700 degrees.
So the passengers were probably still alive based on the knowledge we have.
Where's the thumbs up? Do you guys see the thumbs up anywhere?
But you have to realize if this lithium-ion battery is exploded, it probably did depressurize the plane. So that's probably why they're flying so low, is they're trying to get enough oxygen for the passengers to be able to breathe. And these things are gonna be.
I don't know how the thumbs up works. Is that over here somewhere? You guys, you know where the thumbs up? Over here? Oh yeah, this thumbs up right here.
Right near the landing gear, which is where we think this is pouring out of the plane. It's kind of the point you mentioned earlier. It's not coming from the engines. It's coming from like the middle of the plane here. Now,
Okay,
let's go back
before
to
we go any further, if this is some type of advanced technology being deployed here, maybe as a test, because they're going to easily be able to say, oh, it crashed.
Where
blah,
else?
blah,
News
blah.
sources,
They're testing this
videos.
technology. They would have had time. So how long had this plane been missing, and what was going on in the meantime, so that maybe like these black ops or these secret operations would have been like did they have hours to be like,
Here,
okay, let's
I'm
go
gonna copy
do
this.
it with this.
So we can see this is how the plane goes down, because a lot of people don't know the visualization of how this goes out.
Yeah.
So this plane takes off at 1642, and we'll go back to the other video in a sec, but at 1721 is when the plane goes dark. This is 1 minute after there's a very calm, good night MH370 in the cockpit.
Yeah.
And I think that this is the point where the fire kind of bursts and begins, because Mike McKay is on an oil rig, and he sees this plane on fire at this
The smoke is coming from the heat exhaust ports near the landing gear.
A loud noise at exactly this time as well.
So
Now,
off the eastern coast of Malaysia, there's a witness that sees
South
a
China
plane on
Sea.
fire. Okay.
Yeah. So now what happens is this plane turns.
It's hard to juggle my job and this, I'm not gonna lie. No, I don't have Jeremy Crabell's private email. I reached out to him on Twitter.
This has got a nice long landing strip.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna play it a little louder for you guys.
And apparently the altitude is really good here. There's not a lot of mountains in the way or anything like that. You can
Yeah.
fly low. So it goes back to the logical location where you would find a you go through an emergency situation, but it doesn't land. It keeps going.
That should be a little better.
Presumably because the landing gear is either damaged or can't be deployed for whatever reason. And the next thing you're supposed to do is try to land on your belly. And the problem with that is you're filled with fuel. So you might try to dump the fuel, but you're on fire, right? If you're on fire and you try to dump the fuel, like that doesn't seem good. So the next thing you're supposed to do in the pilot.
So, okay, if it's not a wormhole, it's a transitional phase state change of the plane, right? Yeah, it's not an explosion or because it's an endothermic event, it's absorbing energy. What's potentially happening is the plane's changing phase states. And when we say teleportation, we mean it's speeding up so fast that we can't even see it.
If you try to land in the ocean, the plane's going to rip apart. It's not like Sully Sullenberger landing in the Hudson River.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Land in the ocean, your plane's going to rip apart. Also, I don't know if a lot of people
And then
know
you're going to
this.
get eaten by sharks.
Yeah, a lot of
I'm gonna run to the
mainland
restroom real
Chinese
quick, guys. So I'll be right
nationals
back.
Don't learn how to swim either. It's not like in the West where everybody learns generally from like a young age. So this plane was filled with Chinese nationals as well. So this is a really, really bad situation. We presume because the Malaysian Minister of Defense does an interview where he says that they don't have identification of the
Wow, there's
plane, but
260
they
people
know it's
watching.
not
Let's go.
hostile and they know it's a civilian aircraft. The only way that's possible is if they actually had communication with the plane, because otherwise there's no way you could rule out it being hijacked, right?
Now, additionally,
Yeah, go ahead.
additionally, there is a absorbent amount of employees from one specific company, which is abnormal because you would never have this many high-level executives on a single plane just for insurance purposes.
Yeah, and they weren't executives, but they were high-level engineers and scientists. I'd argue those people are more important than your executives, right?
Yeah,
They're the ones
yeah,
who know how
they're
everything
doing
operates. You know, they're doing the stuff, right? So you've got these.
So what
20
company are they
people.
from?
Yeah, Freescale Semiconductors, and we found that this company is
Might have to quit the
tied
job.
to defense, as well as
I don't know. I'm not trying to monetize this at the moment.
Superconductors. We found a 2005 NSA National Security Agency report that talks about Freescale Semiconductors and how they've been advancing their semiconductors to potentially achieve superconductivity. And it says that this will only happen by 2010 or 2012 if the government actually spends funds to support it. So these people might be directly tied to technology and these orbs that we see in the videos.
Well, interestingly enough, Ashton,
Yeah,
you probably are not
ahead.
aware, there have been several room temperature superconductor hoaxes over the last few years. The most recent just got debunked in the last few months.
Yeah. And I would argue that it's possible that room temperature superconductivity has been suppressed and that those debunks may not even be accurate, right? Because if you think about
it's
it,
for show as propaganda to divert, like, no, we don't have that technology.
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the
I think
bathroom.
that's the idea, right? Yeah, to have people say, okay, we don't have that. But here's the thing: if we're looking at these orbs, then we do have that technology, and it's being suppressed from us. Now, going back to your point here, we have about 1 hour and 20 minutes, or 1 hour till we get to this point, and then 1 hour and 20 minutes before we get to where this witness is. And this witness is on a boat here, and she sees this glowing orange plane. Now, if this plane was on fire and they're battling it using the fire extinguishing devices, it's going to be releasing this bromine gas. And you can't keep these lithium-ion batteries out. You can put them out, they keep coming back, put them out. So they're probably deploying all the fire extinguishing devices, and now it's glowing orange because this gas is permeating throughout the whole plane while they're battling this fire. And that's what the witness sees here, a glowing orange plane, consistent with a halogen lamp. And at this point now, this witness sees this, and it's flying very low. Again, they've recreated, they think it's about 10,000 feet. And it circles around the plane, or around the boat. And this is where she goes inside to put the kettle on after 5-10 minutes of watching this plane.
Yeah.
And she comes back out, and there's no plane anymore. And so this is the part two where I asked her what time this happened, because I actually got in touch with her.
Wow.
She said she thought it was 1840 UTC, which is weird because I go and check the old news articles, and they say that when they lost contact with the plane was not 1822. They say the old news articles say 1840 is the last contact with the plane. This is also the exact time and location where the official narrative says this plane turns into the South Indian Ocean and goes down here to the south. So now if you think about it from a conspiracy perspective, that just means that everything from this point forward is a lie, right? And what really happens is our videos happen here around this time.
Well, wait a minute. You said the official narrative is they lost contact at 1822, correct?
So they changed it later on. And
Yeah.
what happened is
So
this
first
is
it
based
was
on this
40,
radar data.
and
Yeah.
then what was the alteration to 1822?
1815, and then it's 1822, and I'm still not sure which one of those two times it is. If it's 1815,
So they're just
1822.
cutting off the last 20 minutes because they don't want anyone to think anything
They
happened.
don't want anyone to figure it out, right? They don't want people to. And the Malaysian defense, military guy, is super sketchy about the information. They make people look in the South China Sea for a week and a half, while they know that they have radar data that shows this plane going over here. So from the beginning, everything is sketchy about the situation. They don't release the radar data for weeks. They don't release the Inmarsat pings, which say that it goes into the South Indian Ocean for weeks.
All right,
I look at these Inmarsat pings real quick, and
yeah.
there's an anomaly right at this exact time at 1839. All of a sudden, at 1839, in this Excel data, it's just zeros.
So
and then after
they're
that,
being
it's just
disingenuous. They're trying to scrub the timeline. Let's finish the video and show
I'm going
people
back.
what happened in your footage.
So now we're watching it, and now we've got an idea. We had 1 hour and 20 minutes to respond, and so now here we're watching these videos, and
Oops, there we go.
okay, and then we can see these orbs again come in. I'm just going to show the whole thing. It's only 1 minute long, right? This happens very fast. Our orbs get around this plane in like 15 seconds. We got 3 orbs around the plane, and now they're in this triangle pattern, and it looks like they're mapping the plane. They're creating a sphere around the plane. It also looks like the movie Contact a little bit if you were to map it. It also looks like an atom with electrons flowing around it.
Well, and they switch direction twice
Yep.
right there. So once they get a
Yep.
flow counterclockwise, they go back clockwise.
Yeah, and watch this part again here too. Look at the orbs. Look, see these black trails? This line is in front of this orb. This line's not even behind the orb. This is in front of the orb here.
Now,
What's
that would
happening
be
is-
indicative of what Bob Lazar said. They're creating an anti-gravity space in front. They're
Exactly.
folding time and they're moving forward into it.
Exactly. And so and I was just released a thing from Salvatore Pius's paper that explains this as well. Is essentially this is like a pulse that's using some type of vibrational effect to create this geodesic.
Guys, there's some
which is like
news.
its own gravity. And
Well,
they're
and according to
ignoring gravity.
Lazar, it would be a very high end, it would be a stable version of a very unstable element, like element 115 or higher.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't know if they necessarily need one element 115 for this. Like, it's hard to tell, but sure, either way, they're creating this geodesic, right? And it gets to the first cloud here, and then the formation changes, and then they become vertical. And they stay vertical until we see this zap happen. Now, you can also tell from the thermal that there's a heat signature on the orb that's spinning around on its axis. We think this is the monopole, essentially the point where the laser or whatever is coming from. And I would basically just miss it. It came so fast. Now, when we watch this thermal, this
It
gives us
looks
a lot
so
of information.
fake, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But if this is a technology we don't know about, what is it going to look like?
Exactly. That's what a lot of
Yeah.
people would argue, right?
Yeah.
And we can talk a little bit more about that.
Uh-oh,
but
guys.
when we watch it happen here as well, what happens right before this zap is all these monopoles.
They look like they
actually turn.
converge.
Yeah, they do converge
Whoops.
on the plane.
That's another
And then the
count
last
gone.
frame, the
Wiped
plane
out.
actually gets
Permanently
colder,
banned.
and it begins to blur. And
This
it
isn't
actually
from me, by
shrinks
the
a
way,
little
but
bit as well. It gets a little bit smaller.
Looks like we
It's hard
got
to see
another
it at
one
full
bites the
speed,
dust.
But
Not
now
allowed
you
to
can
create
see
new
this-
accounts.
Actually, now this flash on the
Poof.
right side here.
Lua
accurately
Zondo in
illuminates all the
tears.
clouds, which is
Lua
very odd,
Zondo was
because if it
following
fake,
that
you would think
account,
that's
by
a
the way.
Very extensive
That
detail
just
to
got
put in. These
permanently
clouds
banned.
are really, really detailed. Right. So they
Well,
have
and
the
they're
fake
so
very
close.
detailed
They're
clouds.
just tens of meters from the plane.
Yeah, and notice as well the clouds don't really move here, which is indicative that we're not looking at a black hole, and we're not looking at an explosion, because you expect the clouds to either blast away or get sucked in.
Black hole is a false narrative using
Yeah.
mathematics. So this is something much different.
Yeah, so this is what we think is happening here is a transitional phase state change of the plane. The plane is changing states, and the camera can't even catch what happens next, which is this plane accelerates to a point where it just shoots off faster than we can even see. And
Well,
now it's
and
just
if you,
instantly gone.
the experiments have been done where they could do this with single atoms.
Yep,
Um,
exactly.
in transitional foams.
He's actually pretty
Yep.
smart.
So-
he knew a lot of
And so
shit.
now what we see
Maybe
here-
that's baby steps that they're telling us they could do it with an atom, but we don't know that they're 30 years advanced and they could do it with a plane. And this is the first
Diamond actually knows
test
his shit,
ever
man.
of that technology.
It could be one of the earlier ones, or it could be proven too. And maybe there's
Yeah, I mean, Lou, the moment he started following that KMF account, he lost all credibility in my mind.
Macroscopic
I won't trust
quantum
anything he ever says
coherence
ever again.
is that
Yeah.
what they're doing
Oh, wow,
here is
you have a
You'd never find me
terminology- you've got
following
the
some troll
terminology.
account
gotta
like
get
that.
it right. It's
Especially
important
not if you only have
to
like
learn
100
from science.
follows, and then
So what that means
like
is they're
25 of the
able to
guys
somehow
at Lua
these electrons
Zondo.
cohere around the plane
Actually,
to
I want
treat
this
it like
guy.
an atom, so that you can treat something that's macroscopic like something that's quantum. What
Now,
this
folks,
requires
if you're listening, what would happen is the object that's maybe falling to its death would rip out on the other side anywhere else that they placed it on Earth or in our 3D realm.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it would
Could go
still be
anywhere.
crashing. So how would they save it at that point?
Yeah, so we probably do have to adhere to the laws of conservation of momentum. So probably it's going to come out at the other side at whatever speed they were able to decelerate it to or what have you. But that's the part we're not sure about. I mean, what we know is we didn't find a crash anywhere on the Earth right now, at least as we know it for now. So that's part of the issue is that it seems like it must
Well,
have
and-
survived because we don't find plane parts somewhere in like
If you want to go
Afghanistan or whatever.
crazy, if you have the technology to move through that space from one region of space to another, which would be similar to a wormhole, only you're controlling it. You could literally probably have it come out on the other side stationary, just come out and
Glad you
be
brought that
sitting
up.
there. It might even be sitting, hovering above the ground.
Yeah, a physicist actually told me exactly that, which is that, you know, and that was
Colonel
recently.
Douglas
I've
McGregor tweeted it.
on this, but
Retweeted
you
that.
can speed up a plane to the speed
Oh,
of light.
send me a link
You
to
can
that.
theoretically slow it down to just being completely stopped as well.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe you can just have it appear be completely stopped or at whatever speed you want, right? So I think
Yeah, what I was gonna say about Lou is that I looked to see who he's following because he's only following like 120 people. Like 20% of his followers are blocked by me. Like that's or 20% of people he's following are blocked by me. Like that's a bad sign. This guy, maybe they're true about him running disinformation. I'm not sure.
Despite them being so tiny, the answer is the less mass, the faster you can move. So the idea here would be they could theoretically create in some kind of magnetic shell, electromagnetic shell around the plane.
Make it zero mass.
Make it zero mass. And now it can go the speed of light. See, I like talking to you. You're already ahead of me. You know exactly what we're trying to get at from the scientific.
Well, that's
perspective.
obviously what these
exactly.
things are doing. They're mapping it
He knew exactly what he was talking
spatially to reduce the mass of the object, and they're equidistant at the very end. They're spinning. They're creating some type of magnetic field, which will drop the mass to zero. It's almost like, but at the same time, this technology, if it exists, what these orbs also have to be doing is mapping every single atom in the entire plane, all the people, their exact positions, memorizing it and replicating it on the other side.
Yeah, and I don't think we're talking about dematerializing and rematerializing them, but we do.
No,
need
but
to
some
be able
kind
to
of a
differentiate
spatial
size,
rip
right?
where
Yeah, you
you
have to know
are
the size of what's
you
happening.
can, it's conservation of mass and energy somehow in this thing that you just move through space and time instantaneously.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, people would be wiped of their memory. They could be retarded. They wouldn't remember. I mean, like, you have an arm coming out of your head. Could be like the early Philadelphia experiment reports. This may be a refined version decades later.
If there's not a field around them, then these people are probably in bad shape, which makes me think that because we have this fire scenario, again, we see the smoke here, that makes me think that they're attempting to save this plane. And because we see this endothermic event in the thermal here, when we see this event go off, it's cold. It's completely black in this thermal, meaning it's cold. And that means it's absorbing energy. It's not an explosion, which is a release of energy.
Yeah.
So what could be happening is it could be absorbing the energy from the
Here they come in,
batteries.
and then it goes black. Wow.
Yeah, it goes completely black. And so this is important. It makes us think that the person added this thermal layer intentionally over this electro IR camera so that we'd see these details very clearly. If it's black and white, it's going to be a lot harder to tell what's going on here. Now, if these lithium-ion batteries, they have runaway lithium-ion batteries happen because they have so much energy in them. So this could be the reason why they are using this endothermic event, is it can potentially absorb energy, or maybe those batteries are somehow a catalyst.
Holy shit.
You know, I'm still trying to learn more about the science, but I'm just now starting to get the terms correct.
Right.
But I think you nailed it, is that there's some kind of, like, I think it's described as an azimuth, like some kind of circle happening around this plane that's allowing it to obtain this quantum effect and somehow keeping these people alive.
He just retweeted 500,000 followers. Just retweeted my thing.
If this is something that's being tested, like the Philadelphia experiment, you know, maybe it is a situation where these people, you know, didn't make it. And we can't really be sure. We can only speculate based on some circumstantial evidence that's out there.
So who do you think leaked this information?
Yeah, so I think I dug around and I looked around for people that fit the bill.
Yo, I need you guys to retweet
with, like,
this.
espionage or, you know, willful retention of classified data. And we have a lot of evidence from looking at that.
Go ahead and I need you guys to like this post. Get it up to the top for me.
Assets. Probably an
Get that
operator,
post up to the
they have
top
to
for
know
me.
how to remove the HUD information, how to add this thermal layer on this likely Raytheon IR camera. They probably had an emotional reaction because the regicide anon description says received March 12th, which is only 4 days after the event. It also indicates they might have been there that night. They cropped out the drone from the satellite video, which is indicative of them trying to reduce the amount of damage if foreign adversaries were to see
17
this.
minutes ago, somebody just...
And they probably had to convince the Regicide Anon account that they were legit, because the Regicide Anon account waited like 9 weeks to actually upload it. They received it March 12th, but the upload date in the archive says May 19th. They also might have thought they were looking at UFOs. They might not even been like.
I gotta pay attention to Twitter now. I didn't think I'd have to get retweeted by people with 500,000 views,
the regicide
like 500,000 followers.
Says
We're hitting
satellite
the
video,
big time now.
airliner, and UFOs. Doesn't even say MH370 on it. So it's possible the person that leaked this didn't even know. So I dig around and I find this guy, Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lynn, who I think is the guy, and I think he's a hero. He has experience in signals intelligence, which is what all these assets
Edward
are
C.
talking
Lynn,
to
hero,
each other
baby.
with. It's basically like a big network of assets, from the satellites, the command satellite, to the drone as well. If you Google SIGINT payload, the top hit says MQ-1C Gray Eagle. That's the drone we think we're looking at. He was part of this special
I can't even keep
project
up
Squadron
the posts.
2 Wizards.
My
the
alerts
VPU-2.
are going so fast
His last
now.
deployment was February 2014 to March 2016, but he gets reassigned on March 25th, 2014.
Wait a minute. What drone? So there was a not the 3 objects spinning around the plane.
This
There
is
was
the drone
a
right here. We
drone
can see the drone here, right?
Yeah. What are you talking
So this
about?
is the MQ-1. Oh, sorry. If you're sharing, I'm not sharing screen. Hold on.
No.
Sorry, I lost my share screen.
So
Give
it's
me
not one
second.
of the 3 orbs. This is something else.
Yeah, so one of them is a satellite, and this is the drone. You can see the drone, the nose of the drone here. This is an MQ-1C Gray Eagle.
Oh, that's where one of the angles of the footage is from a drone. That's the
Correct.
thermal, and the other one that's natural color is from the satellite.
Yes, exactly. And that's using a false color IR. These are both being taken at night. So that video, that location indicates...
The guy
6:40
operating
a.m.
the drone is inside. He's the leaker. He watched this. His mind was blown. He's like, I've got to show
I
someone
love how
this.
Diamond is on
This
it.
doesn't make sense.
He
Right? And he's
figures it
probably in
all
an
out.
Airplane. So
It's
because
amazing.
KT, that witness on the
Diamond's
boat,
like easily
two other
the
airplanes
person.
in the area,
Whether guys think he's
and
annoying,
the
like
French dad was
he
told
nails
that
it.
the U.S. government knows exactly what happened and that there was
He
2
figures it
AWACS
out.
in the area. So this guy, Edward C. Lynn, actually flies those AWACS. That's what this VPU-2 flies. They fly the P-8 Poseidon and the Ares EP-3E. And both of these planes potentially have computer screens in them. They operate drones. They can potentially look at the satellite video as well, side by side. So this investigation into this guy begins in April 2nd, 2014. He gets reassigned March 25th, 2014, just weeks after MH370, just a month after he gets assigned to this unit. And he gets arrested in September of 2015.
Whoa.
In 2014, in May of 2014, he gets
So I'll
caught
try to
with
answer more
2 flight
questions.
manifests in his flight suit from a deployment that included search and rescue code names. That's just 2 months after the incident, and he had already been reassigned after that. The window of time just indicates that he had to have been part of MH370, either right there that night or part of the later search operation. This FBI sting, they put a bunch
So
of
they
fake
set him
charges.
up with this other garbage and arrest him a little bit later.
Exactly. And they set him up with all
That's
this other stuff. They do a sting
So
operation on him.
simple, man.
The FBI does. They like do some kind of like get him to sleep with some woman and try to like have her like get information out of him to try to prove he's a
course.
spy. This was the first major incident of espionage by an active duty member of the Navy since the end of the Cold War. The charges were going to end up in life in prison for him. They threw the book at this guy. They threw a bunch of fake charges on there. Recently, I found more information that he didn't know what he was being charged with when they interrogated him.
Right, because they
didn't give him a
planted
speedy
these flight
trial.
logs. There's no reason to steal them. There's no, I mean, it's so stupid. They manufacture something that can send him to jail for life, period.
Yeah, and then because they, I mean, look at the
Where's the
danger
Rogue
of all
Archer
this,
one?
right?
So
And
did he get locked up?
57,000
his
views.
charge sheet's heavily redacted. We can't find anything about it. He's privy to the Navy's black program portfolio. He had knowledge that could be useful to adversaries, but they eventually admitted it wasn't really a spy case, and they had no evidence that he exchanged any sensitive information with anyone from China. The defense argued that the classified information in question is available on the internet. That, to me, that's just like, okay, bingo. And then he got abused while he was in prison. He ended up taking a plea deal. So they convince him, my mind is they convince him that, no, this actually wasn't UFOs. Like, this was our secret technology. Like, because he probably just thought he wasn't doing that much damage if it's just UFOs, right? But the moment you say, no, this is our secret technology, then they force him into a plea deal. He gets a 9-year sentence, even after a plea deal. And then they shave off 3 years because he agrees to work with the NCIS and the FBI.
Yeah, we're gonna
And then
do
he
some kind of
takes
replay.
responsibility for the charges he was actually guilty of, which is just 2 charges of classified information, like mishandling classified information. And I did a Freedom of Information Act request to both the FBI and NCIS. I said, give me
You guys are
everything
on it.
about
You
this
guys are
guy's
getting all the
case.
questions.
Week later, NCIS sends me back from the head of legal. They reject the FIA and Freedom of Information Act in total to be kept secret in the interest of national defense or foreign policy.
Oh,
Okay.
that guy was Epstein.
This guy, like, I'm like, and the FBI hasn't responded.
Either that or he flipped and he's totally on the inside now, or he's not.
Oh yeah, he flipped.
He's
flipped
no
for
longer
sure.
above surface.
He flipped.
He's one or the other.
So I've already reported this, but I looked into him and we were able to find a phone number. I called the phone number.
What kind of world do we live in where FOIA requests can be denied? This is insane.
Yeah, so that's the weirdest part, because in 2009, Obama actually made FOIA requests easier to pull. But this is actually an Obama era exemption that they quote in my denial. And so there's very few reasons they can deny them. And so the two things that they list are like classified intel related to defense or like this foreign policy. But as we know, it wasn't really a spy case. None of the espionage charges stuck.
Yeah.
So the only thing that makes sense then is this defense, right? So when I appeal, that's how I'm probably going to appeal, is say, well, how can this be foreign related if this guy wasn't a spy, right? I want them to admit that, oh, okay, it's just in the interest of national defense. Because if so, then is this what he leaked? Is this what we're looking at right here? Right? Because to me, this is interest of national defense right here, right? Whatever we're seeing on the display here.
Yeah, Ashton, I want to really bring it all together here in the end of the podcast here. For those that are listening, when I was in third grade, I was in third grade, my father brought home some material from his place of business, and he had it on the kitchen table after dinner, and I was like, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's stealth material. It allows us to line a plane with it and make it invisible. This is 1981. The stealth bomber didn't come out for a very long time after that or was revealed to the public. And I said, oh, that's so cool. Tomorrow is show and tell. Can I bring it to school? It's a piece of foam. It's starting to get pretty big. It looked like a foam bed, a mattress overlay. You know, it was like some black foam, but they were pointy cylinders like this, like pyramids, real steep. And there was just a piece of foam with all these pointy cylinders. And I brought it to school and I had show and tell, and I explained them that this is stealth material that makes planes invisible. Oops. My teacher thought it was so cute. Everyone clapped or whatever. Show and tell. And then I sat back down. He let me go into school with top secret material because he knew no one would believe what I said. And he knew that the technology was so advanced that even if I brought it to show and tell, it didn't matter. Lo and behold, in the 90s, the F-114A was revealed after some top secret footage came out. And it's lined with the material my father had a decade before that he let me take.
He's got 53,000.
The point being is that the technology we are aware of, like people are now talking about directed energy weapons. I'm like, bro, that's a laser. That shit came out in 1970. I mean, the Soviets had that technology in the 60s. This is, you're just learning about it.
A lot of people are going to be seeing these videos now.
They couldn't keep it secret for 50 years. So the technology that we're at today is so far advanced. Think about it. How old are you, Ashton?
Yeah, I'm 41.
All right. In my lifetime, I'm 51. In my lifetime, when I was 12, they came out with the first computer you could own. It was 6K. 6. Yeah. You could basically do like 3 pages of BASIC and it was full. Then we went to 30, 150K. I mean, that was when I was growing up. We went from retarded abacus to right now the technology we have in just 4 decades. And you think that the technology that we're being told about is technology we have, you are being lied to. Especially the whole alien abduction conspiracy is the U.S. government and the black operations, whatever you want to call them, shadow government. They're testing these technologies. I believe, and you and I talked about this, that 100% everything that Bob Lazar has said, that we have ancient technology from advanced races that are not currently abducting us. Trust me, that the U.S. government has reversed engineered this technology and is testing it. Now, what's even more crazy is all of the synchronicities, like the Simpsons predict this,
Patience
and
of
that,
Job.
etc. You know what I'm getting at. That I think that the next PSYOP is what everyone's been talking about in plain sight, that the alien abduction or the alien fight with humanity, you know, to bring us all together in that one world government is a reality. And maybe this MH370 test has something to do with how they're going to pull it off.
I'm actually afraid if I call the FBI on the stream, they'd arrest me.
What are your thoughts?
Thanks,
honest with
Pat.
you, I was
Appreciate
never
it,
really
buddy.
part of the UFO communities or conspiracy communities before this.
Yeah, that's
but,
what's interesting. That's why I trust you. First of all, if you're listening to this podcast, like I'm a good judge of character. I know there's no Martian program. People live there up with decades with blue.
Yeah, he
check
does
marks,
go his
all
own
this
theories a lot, but that's
garbage
fine. He had a
coming
lot
out
of
of
interesting
Gaia
information.
and the whole fake UFO phenomenon. I mean, I interviewed years ago the hubcap guy. You know, I don't even want to mention his name. He's taking pictures of hubcaps and saying, "No one's why doesn't no one follow us anymore?" I'm like, "Because you're a fraud. It's all a fraud. Let's get to the bottom of it." And I think that the bottom of it is a very bad place. We all know. That
Thanks,
these
Luis
shadow
or
governments
Luis.
shadow ops or Illuminati,
Do I think
call it
the
whatever
passengers
you
are still
want.
alive?
Whatever they're doing is
Honestly,
not
I
the
think
best
there's no way all of
interest.
them lived.
The
It's just
next
too dangerous a
step,
situation.
I mean, the depopulation
I think if
already
some of them
started. The
lived,
next
it's
step is
possible.
gonna be some alien intervention.
I think it's pretty. I think that it's likely that at least one of the pilots lived. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's pretty messed up.
One of them is definitely. I don't believe there's gonna be some alien invasion thing, you know. And I think that they might come with that kind of narrative. A lot of people say, "Oh, this is the fake alien invasion, whatever." Like we're not dealing with any alien invasion stuff in these videos. You know, I think that what we're seeing here is our technology for sure. I don't know how deep this rabbit hole goes. It's getting pretty damn deep, to be honest with you. Like I've even found when these people were silenced, the families of the victims, they all signed these settlements because it's been so long and they've had no answers. And eventually, if they want to get paid, they have to sign a settlement. Like I found out that the U.S. Supreme Court judge that prevented it from being ruled in the United States is Ketanji Brown Jackson, current Supreme Court justice. She got promoted 2 years later by Joe Biden. I'm just looking at him like, okay, man, now this is just like, I don't know how deep this goes, but it's starting to get really weird in my mind.
Bro, my research began in 2010 when I started to research the revolving door between Big Ag, the FDA, and our federal government. And once I hit that wormhole where the people that are approving food that's safe to eat are the same people that are approving pesticides that will kill you, that then are revolved back into the federal government as the liaison for the Food and Drug Administration, which then get hired as a CEO at a pharmaceutical company, you start to say, what in God's name is going on here?
Yeah, I get a little worried about like this, not necessarily nepotism, but like I scratch your back, you scratch my back stuff that happens in government. And that's definitely like what I'm worried about here with a lot of this is that there's a lot of people implicated in this, both sides of the political spectrum potentially. And so, yeah, I don't know how deep this goes. For me, this has been a journey of discovery. And
What's
finding
happening
out,
right now on
okay,
Twitter
yeah,
is
wow,
wild,
maybe
man.
Is the biggest
This is like
conspiracy
blowing
ever.
up.
We might be looking at free energy capability here, fusion power. You know, we might be looking at all kinds of stuff that could just change the entire world. I think that the Department of Energy is probably the ones that are hiding this. I even think that a lot of people in the military probably don't think this stuff is real because it's so compartmentalized.
I need my letter to
You have
Congress.
be,
Do I have a link to that?
very
Shit, I don't think I have a link to it.
specific access in order to even know this is
My
real, right?
father, let's get to the bottom of it. My father revealed this to me in the late 80s. Conversations I had with him, they don't have this type of clearance anymore.
Shit, I don't even know where my letter to Congress is anymore.
Especially compartmented information.
That was weeks
SCI,
ago.
which has since changed. They change it every decade or so. But he
we need a bridge
explained to me,
version of
which
this.
he's not allowed to, and maybe he's almost, he's in his 80s, so he doesn't have. I'm sure they won't come and kill him where he's retiring, but because everyone knows this, everyone's been revealed to this. You go into a building. Well, first of all, he revealed to me that there are underground networks that connect the White House to the Pentagon, where the Joint Chiefs of Staff move along in these underground railroads that are open air. They're not that fast. They're not covered like a normal subway. It's like a golf cart kind of situation in a cave where they can go from building to building completely safe from nuclear explosions. That's how deep these tunnels are. Then you come up into the Joint Chiefs of Staff, etc. You can also come up into buildings.
I got a lot. I'm trying to answer questions
here.
here.
Pentagon where this particular compartmented information exists. You get a code, like a code card. You get access to a door. You walk into a door. You go down to a hallway with thousands of doors. Your door 198, you have the key code to that door. You go into the room. It's like a hotel, a motel, more like.
I messed up on my evidence.
There's a desk. The information you read
is
realized
there.
You get to
two
read
of them
it.
are stacked together.
Then there's a slot. You put it in. It gets shredded and burned. And then you put the card in. It gets destroyed. You can't leave the room until the information you received and the key that you entered is destroyed. Then you get out of the room. This is above top secret. And there are only certain people that get the information. So even 40, 50 years ago, no one knows what's going on. You know one thing, this other guy knows another thing. If you put 8 together, they may know a little bit, but you would need 50 people to figure out that you have anti-gravity or a wormhole machine. No one knows what's going on. He's like, this is a superconductor no one can know about. Like, that's all he knows.
Yeah,
he doesn't know that it makes a wormhole the planes can fly through, and he gets the information. So this type of shit has been going on for decades. Not only that, in the secret psyop arenas, it's been going on in academia. Starting in the 80s and the 90s, when I got into academia, when I went to get my master's degree, they separated chemistry from physics, from geology. They were all in one building. Back in the 80s, they separated them into different floors and buildings. That way, you couldn't be actually broad-based in your knowledge to understand maybe about magnetic reversals or cosmic impacts or things that could affect humanity that could send us back to the Stone Age. You wouldn't know that. And the reason they've hidden that from the public is because they want everyone to be good sheep, go along in their slave lives, go to their jobs, toil their whole lives until they die, and feed the machine. We live in a slave society. I think we're about to have a rude awakening in the near future because that's what my channel is based on.
Twitter's going wild right now.
Happen. And I think that this technology is a big part of the bigger picture.
Yeah. No, I think that a couple of things you said that were really interesting to me. One thing I want to say, though, is that everything I've been revealing is public info. I don't have any, compartmentalized information. My job isn't related to any technology or UAPs or anything like that we see here. But there was a situation where I found who the general was who's potentially in charge of this. And Freedom of Information Act requested all their emails from the NRO, which I know is like the satellite organization. They control the satellites. And there was nothing. So yes, even though it doesn't give me information, I can glean that, okay, they're not using conventional communications for this. So that thing you mentioned about, destroying that, like everything's got to either be on paper probably, right? And then it's being shredded instantly.
She wants to know where
trail for any of these kind of
where
operations.
the plane went.
Which I found was kind of interesting in terms of some of the stuff that you just mentioned.
Right, because you can't find any.
I'll answer questions in a sec, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to.
Exactly. As opposed to the Edward C. Lynn thing where they say, yeah, we've got it, but we're just not going to give it to you, right? So quite a bit.
Can you imagine if that drone operator, he's like mid-level military, whatever he is, there's only 2 guys ever that could see this information because they know all we got to do is kill those guys. In the middle of nowhere, we could probably hit them with a missile.
Dude, you're going to see his picture of Malaysian Airlines on it.
So, I mean, this is all on purpose. This is the Jeffrey Epstein effect. And in fact, what I think he was being used for was this type of sabotage, espionage, and blackmail.
Yeah.
If you can get everyone in compromising positions where you have material that could ruin their lives or their careers, you're basically in control of everything. Now, okay,
thanks, Amanda,
Ashton, you've just dabbled your feet into the conspiracy theory worlds. You're about to get attacked. You think it's just begun. It's going to get worse.
Oh, yeah. I was going to mention that next.
I think that I have some advice to you. Just brush your shoulder off. These people are psychopaths. In social media, there's ways to block these people, eliminate them. Don't eliminate the people that are important to the dialogue or the story.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta love your enemies and keep them close, so to speak. But okay? So you've dabbled here. What do you think the bigger picture is? Is it just that we have advanced technology and they're hiding it, or is there some deeper thing going on with the capture of this plane, perhaps?
I think we mentioned the 20 free-scale semiconductor engineers. I think they are probably tied to the technology that we see. So I think that there's a motivation there to either keep them, prevent them from going to China, or like you said, it could be a weapons test on a doomed plane because it's doomed anyway, right? I imagine I lean towards the saving them because this was on fire. You could just let it crash if you want them to disappear. And also, using it as a weapons test seems like a lot of conspiracy cover-up that you have to do in order to pull that off. It's really risky. But it could be any of those. To me, I think the bigger thing is why are they keeping it secret? And I think there's a couple routes. Is like you mentioned, it could be a matter of this that it's too disruptive for socioeconomic situations. It's going to wipe out multiple industries, wipe out all the Middle East and fossil fuels. The other thing could be they could be afraid of this technology.
Oh, this is going wild. Okay, let me take a look so I can do some chats, questions
here.
here.
Actually argued that you could use this technology to blow up.
It's almost over, guys.
Or a whole planet.
Should be over in a minute.
That's the thing that I think makes the most sense is that, you know, if you give this type of technology to, let's say, like terrorists, let's say ISIS, for example, back in the early 2010s, you know, how do you stop an individual who is, you know, willing to blow themselves up from destroying a whole country, destroying the whole planet potentially? Maybe the answer to the Fermi paradox and why we don't see other civilizations out there is because we all just blow ourselves up when you reach a certain level of technical advancement, right? So that's the part that actually spooks me the most as I've dug into this is like, beginning, it was about MH370, getting the answers for the families of the victims, the pilot that was vilified, the witnesses that were all discredited, and potentially the leaker who leaked this, who basically made a huge sacrifice, went into prison. But then you go into the technology and you're like, wow, okay, what are the real implications here of this technology, right? And I start to think, like, if this wasn't about MH370, I would probably just be quiet about it. Because I just think about the implications and I go, man, like, we can change the circumstances of so many people, but what if the cost is destruction of the planet, right?
That's
I
some
don't
pretty big names retweeting some of my stuff
but
right
again,
now. Pretty
I
sweet.
am the kind of person that values the truth.
You want to talk about Diego Garcia,
everything.
Drubix?
And so we're in
Follow
this
you
for the long haul. I don't care how many people vilify me. I've got podcasters who looks like they're working with spooks.
We're gonna talk about Diego
trying to
Garcia in a
discredit
few
me.
minutes after
They're
this,
working with literal
because
people
you know
who
what?
are in chat
Forget it.
rooms
YOLO,
who are
baby.
talking about trying to disconnect me from this case. And I don't give a crap about any of that. I say, come and get it.
Come and
I'm
get
not
it.
afraid. I don't
Come
care
and
what
get it.
happens. We are gonna get the truth no matter what, and anything they do
We
to
are
me,
gonna get the
every
truth
time
no
they try
matter what.
something, just backfires back on them. Because as you can tell, I'm an honest person here, and yeah, you know, as long as I just keep being honest and keep doing my thing, then it's gonna be really hard for them to try to discredit me. And I agree with you. That probably will. It's probably just beginning. But it's okay.
Well, I
I'm
think the
ready for
good
it.
news is, and we learned something today talking to each other, is that based on all these specially compartmented type of things, the breakdown of science, they've been separating everything since the 80s, that in order to use the technology, you probably need to bring 6 scientists together at that last moment and say, this is what you've been working on. Blow their minds, and then it can only happen if they work together to make it happen, and then you've limited it to anyone knowing except those people.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And then it's like, okay, now you have to avoid a Bob Lazar situation, right? Where one of these people gets out and they start talking and blabbing. And I don't know. I like to think of the good in people and they're not killing people out
I
there.
hate these
and I hope
bots.
they don't,
I get these
take
bots
this as a
liking my
challenge for
stuff, and
me.
it's like, it'll be
As
like,
long as they
Elena,
don't disrespect
Elena.
me, that's fine. If they
They're
do
all
try to
bots.
escalate in any way, then I'm just going to keep
I
pumping
block them all every
information out
time.
more. Like,
I
know
don't want
that
to
they
like
were
people
generally,
trying to be able to
deleted the
report me
previous
for like
post.
fake
I
engagement or
can post
anything.
it again. I know the people who are implicated in this. The evidence is extremely compelling. Last time I posted it, the general's information had over 120,000 views. If I post it again, I feel like it's going to get over 250,000. So, you know, just please.
Yeah, it's layers of exposure. So let's keep it up. My channel is going to introduce it to a whole group of another people.
Thanks this
And
channel.
They know we're shadow banned. Share this information on your social media. Hit up Ashton Forbes on Twitter. Subscribe there. He's also over on Facebook. We need you to go over here
I'm
and
actually
get
not on
this
Facebook. YouTube, you mean? YouTube.
I'm saying YouTube, yeah.
That's Ashton. Yeah.
Yep, Ashton Forbes on YouTube. Let's get this to 3,000 tonight. And just the people watching, hit it live tonight because we're going to probably do this 8 p.m. on Magnetic Reversal News. Subscribe right now. Let's get them to 3,000.
We're live right now, boys and girls.
Share this out and let's see what we can do.
We want to do some Diego Garcia chat.
Truth out there about
Diego Garcia once this is over.
Technology. And maybe maybe it's not nefarious. Maybe this is aliens, Ashton, and they were trying to save the people. And they then suck their brains out and use their DNA to make more alien hybrid babies. Who knows?
I don't like to set the narratives for people. I'm just trying to get the evidence out there, and people can believe whatever they want about it. People want to believe it's aliens.
You can pretty much make up anything
mind,
you want
right?
on a gun.
Yeah.
All right, this is fun. Before we shut down here, we're about to go. This is a perfect hour. One question and be concise.
Sure.
Did we land on the moon?
Did we land on the moon?
I think we did, but I can't say for certain. I was before my time.
Yes, we landed on the moon.
We did.
I think it's weird.
I'm pretty sure we did. I've spent so many hours, and I also know that there's tons of.
Okay, let's see what we got,
There's
guys.
more fake footage because in case everyone died, than there is real footage. So that's the problem. No one looks into it deep enough. And they're like, it's impossible we could have lost this.
Yeah,
technology.
Amanda, the Philip Wood picture is one
Like, are you
indication
kidding me?
that somehow
If
it made it.
was all compartmentalized and secret, it would be so simple. There's no floppy disk. There's no internet. There's no way to keep it forever. It's like a piece of freaking paper.
If you're on an airplane, you can't use a cell phone
like,
usually.
people just don't.
They don't.
Get
You can't
it.
get service.
When you
It's too high up.
take a rock from the moon and bring it to the Earth, All you have to do is throw.
If you try to
it
turn your
in a
cell
field
phone
and
on when
there's
you're
no
at
more
30,000
rocks
feet or whatever, it
from
doesn't
the
work.
moon on
Even
the
at probably like 10,000 feet, it won't
I
work.
think that looking up is the biggest evidence is that you can see.
There is a
like,
Philip
the,
Wood picture,
footprints
message
and
from the
flag up
plane on
there.
You can
Instagram
see every
supposedly,
country
but
that
I
has ever
can't really
landed there on
corroborate
the
it.
moon with a good enough telescope.
Yeah,
You can see
exactly.
the landing pads and the.
It's weird
and
that
the
we haven't
ship
gone
left
back though.
over.
You know.
Okay, I'm gonna close this.
No, we have.
Okay, so that was fun. So we're gonna do some of our own stuff here. Let me just make sure we've got all this. Like, share, subscribe, blah blah blah. Yeah, so if you're watching as well, I guess I hate saying this, but like, share, and subscribe if you're not, although I imagine all you guys are. We are going to do a little bit of Diego Garcia here. Give me a second. I just want to make sure we get up to date on all the chat messages. Okay, give me a sec. Ooh, oh boy, full screen face. That's not really working well. Give me 1 second, pulling up Google Earth Pro, because we are going to do a little Diego Garcia. Oof, you guys ready for that? 2 Canadian passengers. There's the 2 Iranian passengers that were on the plane as well. So Diego Garcia is the place where I think that this plane went. Let me see. Passengers still alive. I think it's pretty unlikely. It's hard to say. Yeah, silencing the families is messed up. You should read my article about buying silence. Man, I feel bad. Except for this one guy, his lawsuit's actually in like a week is going to be in Chinese court. I tried to message him. Let's see. Yeah, don't disparage the host, guys. He's fine. Diamond's good. He's a cool guy. He knows a lot. That was actually good. I mean, he knew a lot of shit. Pardon my French. I guess this isn't going to be for children. Yeah, the SOS was reported 2:43 a.m., which you convert that to Malaysian time is 18:43 UTC. And the SOS was claiming they were attempting emergency landing and that the plane was disintegrating, which would be on fire, right? Satellite phone, I mean, I don't know. Are there satellite phones on planes? I think if you have Wi-Fi, maybe. It was 2014, so Wi-Fi wasn't quite nearly as common as it is now on planes, so it's possible. Yeah, there was 2 young Iranians on the plane as well. Okay, some people are coming on to the chat. Okay, I'm gonna close out of that chat. I think we're good with that one. I'm just gonna send some heart emojis. Send 100% emojis. Send some of those emojis. Okay, it's all us now. Let me make sure I close out those others. Yeah, the notifications are just going wild right now. Okay, I'm gonna close my Twitter notifications for a minute. Every time it updates, it's just 9 more updates. 9, 10 more. Guy says, I don't know. Who needs a book when you have all this to go through? It's true. I mean, who even needs like Netflix or anything? It's just like we're dealing with shit that's like just even crazier than all that. Yeah, so there's a few reasons. I'm going to pull up Diego Garcia here, why we think this plane ended up in Diego Garcia. And it's easy when we look at the map, I think. So before I pull up Diego Garcia, I'm going to give you guys the very abridged version of the flight path. So Kuala Lumpur is near Singapore down here, right? So Singapore is a small island. I used to live there. Yeah, so this is Singapore. It's an island right here, and and this is actually water that disconnects it from Malaysia here. It's kind of hard to see in this view. But this right here is Singapore. I used to actually live like right where the cursor is right here. And then where did we move to? Somewhere up here, I think. And so I've actually been to Malaysia before. I've actually been to Penang before as well. We drove up here one time. I was actually talking to my mom today, and we were recounting the situation where we lived in Malaysia, or in Singapore, and we drove to Penang. I think it's up here somewhere. Yeah, it's way up here. It was a long-ass drive to get up to Penang. And there's Langkawi right there. We actually stayed on Langkawi. Yeah, we stayed in this hotel in Langkawi that when we got in it, It was slanted. I kid you not, slanted. Like, I was afraid. Like, when we got into the room, it was like you felt like you were going to fly out, like, the balcony or whatever. And we were like, okay, we're going to stay somewhere else. It was pretty sketchy. Like, Malaysia's like the Mexico of Southeast Asia. So this plane takes off from Kuala Lumpur right here. And it's flying northeast. And it flies over here, and then the fire starts. And it turns around and goes to Penang, which is closer than going all the way back to Kuala Lumpur. Not by much, but by a little bit. It's the right place to go to. So they fly to Penang. They can't land here for whatever reason. And then they fly up here towards our coordinates, which are somewhere up here. This is a different waypoint. I don't know why I put it in there. Our coordinates are like right, probably about here, I think. Wait, they might be up here, right about here, where my mouse is. So the drone is most likely being deployed from one of these islands right here, like up here in the Nicobar and Andaman Sea. There's like a joint military and U.S. Base. So the drone probably comes from there. It intercepts right down here. This is where KT's boat is as well, down here, right? And she's going to Phuket over here. Okay. So they're over here somewhere. The drone intercepts. Plane flies over here. We see our videos happen. Okay, so we see the plane teleport. The leading theory is why it couldn't land is probably that the landing gear is damaged, right? Hey, Sandy, I saw you in the other chat. Welcome. Hell yeah. Hey, everybody. Hey, Michael. Hey, everybody who came from Diamond's chat. Nice to see you guys. We were actually watching, and we were talking while that was going on. I guess I don't need these headphones anymore. I'm going to eat my Rice Krispie bar, too. So, the plane comes over here, and this is where our videos are happening, okay? And this is where we see our video situation happen. Now, the hard part is, okay, where does it teleport to? Like, is it teleporting, like, around the world and then showing up somewhere over here? The situation is we think it shows up in the Maldives. This is the Maldives over here. Notice how close it is to Diego Garcia. This is really close. This is really, really close. So this right here is 700 miles like this. And there's all these little islands and stuff down here in the Maldives. One of these is called like Kuvo something or other. So the Maldives has a B777 fire suppression device wash up in the Maldives. I'm gonna Google it for you guys. Look at this thing. Look at this. This is a B77 fire suppression device. Look at this picture. You can see the serial number right here. 8219. I can read it. This is a fire suppression device from a B77. B777. Here's the picture of where it washed up. It washes up in the Maldives. What the hell? From our fire. So this plane somehow probably got over here somewhere, right? For this fire suppression device to wash up here. Again. It's washing up here somewhere. Actually, I haven't ever compared this to the map. I didn't know there was a picture like this. I should have to save this. So this fire suppression device washes up here. These islanders, here's the island right here, Kuda Huvu. This is the one. This is where the islanders see it at 6:15 in the morning. The problem is, like, this is like a 6 or 8 hour difference from when the plane teleports away over here. So we've got to account for like 6 hours. Maybe not quite 6 hours, but like 4 to 6 hours. Somehow 4 to 6 hours later, it's over here. And so these islanders see it flying from where my mouse is. Let me make this bigger. Hey, the date was, I think, a couple weeks later. Let's double check. My Rice Krispie bar is going nuts. March 25th. So it literally just like 2 weeks later, March 25th, it washed up. May even be before that. So less than 2 weeks later, this heavy fire suppression device washes up here. Now, when these Kuduvo Islanders see the plane, there's like 6 or 8 of them, like a lot of them see it. The plane's flying over this way, apparently, from the northwest. And they see it fly like over this island, like very low. Hey, Synthetic, but they can make it out. So the plane then is going down here somehow to Diego Garcia. I mean, this is the only place you're going from up here, right? So it's probably going over here and it's flying down to Diego Garcia. It's not very far away. I mean, this is the place where it's got to be going. The Maldives gets intentionally removed from the search. They're not included in the search at all. Yeah, hey, Susie. Welcome, everybody. How are the passenger phones still ringing? Well, they had to be somewhere where they had cell phone service. That's my opinion. Certainly can't be underwater. So my guess is they fly down here and they get to Diego Garcia sometime in the early morning. They land on this giant landing strip that's actually big enough to be able to take a shuttle from outer space. One of the NASA shuttles can land here. This is an emergency landing place for a shuttle because it's got this really, really long runway. Look at this picture. Wait. Hey, do people know that the plane landed here? Look at this. Look at this. That's MH370 right there. Somebody's tagged the Diego Garcia with MH370 on Google Earth Pro. I love it. So the plane somehow lands here. Now, let's take a look at this, guys. I've been talking to people. We think there's an elevator here somewhere that a plane can go down. Because look, where are all the planes? Where are the planes at? Shouldn't there be like a ton of planes on this? Let's go back to 2013. Look at all the planes. Where'd all the planes go, guys? Here it is. This is probably an elevator right here, I think. Like, look at this weird spot right here for this plane. Or like this right here. Oh, it conveniently has a cloud over it. Oh, whoa. Does that look different? Wait a minute. Whoa, this looks different, doesn't this? Does this look different to you guys? This looks like a hangar right here, right? Whoa, is it gone now? You guys see that? Yeah, it's definitely not a hangar anymore. Like, yeah, this spot too could be an elevator. There's an elevator here somewhere. I'm sure of it. This could be an elevator right here too. The question is, where'd all the planes go? Maybe these circle things are elevators. All of a sudden, there's just no planes on the runway anymore. None. Not one. Where are all the planes? Yeah, the roof was missing off that one. Maybe this is where the electro-IR telescopes are. They have some kind of advanced electro-IR telescopes here. So I've looked all over this place, mainly around the hangars. Everybody tells me these circle things here are like fuel storage. I don't know if the cloud made it appear, but you can see here, this is just, yeah, this is weird. Huh. It's wide enough for it, for sure. So I think they've got an underground facility because we found a ton of contracts for tens of millions of dollars. People say, well, tens of millions of dollars isn't that much. But tens of million dollars when you have Southeast Asia, like slave labor, you can go a long way. Like they're using like cheap, super cheap manual labor on this island. They basically treat the people like slaves. They're not even allowed to talk to their families. Not allowed to talk to their families for the whole duration while they're on deployment here. Now I want to show you something else weird here. This is, I think, the small boat harbor, or maybe large boat harbor. There's a weird picture here. Look at this one. What? What is this? Is this an artifact? Why does this look so weird? Yeah, TS, good question. Do elevators for planes exist? I think if you have an underground base, then yes. Also, supposedly there's a submarine dock somewhere here in this base. If you can explain to me why there's no planes on the runway after 2014, then, I mean, the only thing I can come up with, like every picture you look at, there's no planes on the runway. Where are all the planes? 2016, 2019, nothing. Nothing. definitely looks like the roof came off this place. Why is it so like lower quality? Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm definitely eyeing this building right here. Whatever this is going on right here is really suspicious. As well as these areas. This whole area is where I'm thinking you got your elevators here somewhere. And so they can take planes underground to some kind of underground hangar. Maybe over here as well. It's hard to say. The big one is outside to the north of it. Let me look. This is a good picture right here. Up here somewhere? No, I think that's the... These are like barracks. The runway color is different. I think it's just because of the like daytime or nighttime of the picture, but I'm not sure. But this base apparently has hydrophones that would have caught the acoustic detection from MH370 because it's not that far away. And they actually they released the data. The hydrophones here can hear a plane even if it crashes over by Australia. Even if it crashes over here, Diego Garcia hydrophones can hear it. Australia has radar systems that could see a plane like way out here if it comes out here. Indonesia can see a plane if it goes down here. None of these things saw it. Western Australia also has hydrophones. Okay, let me go look at it again. I think the plane got here somehow. It's the only place that makes sense because if you look at it, look how far away this is from everywhere. There's no radars that is going to catch it here. Now, if you think Jeff Wise says it went to Russia, explain to me how a plane gets from here all the way up to Russia somewhere. Look how many countries it has to go through. It's like 10 different radars are going to catch this plane. There's no way this plane went north. You telling me all these countries get silenced? They all have radar systems? None of them see it? That's the reason why they came up with this narrative. This is basically the only other location for it to go without it being seen. But the problem is that it should have been able to see. So yeah, Google Earth Pro, the one I'm looking at right now, is the one to use because you can switch the times around. It's pretty sweet. You can download it for free. Something about this base, man. Like nothing changes on the surface. Like look at this. Let's go back to like where we can actually see stuff. 2003 is probably the earliest. Nothing on the surface changes here. Wait a minute, did that change? Oh, they were building this stuff right here. Oh, wow. I didn't notice that. What are they building right here? They're building more of these hangars. Oh, whoa, you see them move like that? Whoa. You think these are where the elevators are at? Is that big enough for this? Is that a fighter jet? Huh. Oh, whoa, you can see it going in there. Oh, boy, you can see it going in there. Oh, they caught it going in there in this picture. Now I really think this might be an elevator in here. I don't know. There's an elevator somewhere here for sure to take these things underground. Are these fighter jets now? Oh, wow. So fighter jets change to these planes later on. Huh. Doesn't seem like it's big enough for these. Just the tip. Why this plane? The answer is the 20 Freescale semiconductor scientists. The 20 Freescale semiconductor scientists are the main reason why this plane is going to be the one. They are connected to room temperature superconductivity and maybe microprocessors, as well as Department of U.S. Defense. I think they were making like RF chips or something like that. We were looking it up the other day. There's a bunch of connections though to the military for Freescale semiconductors, and they had 20 of their like top engineers were on this plane. So probably it was a situation where they couldn't risk losing them. Yeah, these are big boys. These are big planes right here. This is a big plane. Yeah, you can see this one is like coming off. So yeah. Oh, and also Diego Garcia has radar that can apparently go 3,000 miles. So let's see if we can tell. Is there a thing that says the distance? Oh, here's the eye altitude from 20,000 feet. This is also, I think, indication there's no way that our video, our satellite video, can be coming from a plane. Like, the plane would be much bigger. For it to be at 5,000 feet, like, yeah, it's going to be really big. 20 miles. This is 40,000 feet. Is there a thing that says how far stuff is? Huh. Yeah, it's kind of amazing to let you see all this. Give me a sec. Damn, 1987 your husband was here? That's crazy. Doesn't oh, it goes back that far. It does. Here you go, Sue. This is when your husband was there. This is how good our satellite optics were. Not very good. You can still see these tanks here. You can't really make out the dock anymore. And you can't really tell what's going on here. And then the next one is not till 2001. It looks like you don't see those hangars here, though. And now they're starting to build them. So they started to build these in early 2003. This one doesn't even look like it's done yet. What are these? Maybe it's like a loading bay. They were definitely building something. Because now it's just all gone. Huh. Gotta see what do we got going on here. Sorry, 10:20. Probably not gonna be able to stay on much later. I'm really tired. So yeah, this base is a very advanced base. What people are telling me that this base is basically it's more secretive than Area 51. And it would make sense. I mean, look, this base is in the middle of nowhere, right? This is where you're gonna hide your stuff, right? Yeah, they use this as like an Iraq like launch point. Sorry, TS, I didn't see it. Hold on. If you're asking about elevators, I answered it. Like, I mean, I don't know if I know the answers to... I don't know how I'm supposed to know if an elevator for a plane exists. I think, of course, it can exist. Why not, right? So, and if it does, it's at this base. There's a bunch of contracts for black construction to build, like, advanced, like, underground stuff at this place. And this links to the footage because this is potentially where the plane went. Yeah. This is potentially where the plane went. This is the only logical place where this plane is going to go on Earth without being seen. This is where everybody thought it went. All the conspiracy theories. They even trolled this place, putting a picture of the plane here. Yeah, take a look. If you guys aren't familiar, take a look at my pinned tweet. It goes over all the evidence and what we're dealing with, every single thing. So really, it's really easy. You know, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, you know, I can't tell every single person individually what's going on. So go to my profile at JustXAshton. Pin tweet, all pertinent evidence. Just click on it. Just start scrolling. Requirements to understand the videos. Video facts. There's links to all the videos you can watch. Here are the archive versions where it all came from. Scroll down. Requirements to fake the videos. Pretty damn extensive. I mean, this is a lot. Here's the flight path. I list out the entire flight path here. Why the plane didn't crash into the South Indian Ocean. List it all out. People say, what about the debris that they found? Here it is. Everything you want to know. How do we know this is MH370? There's the evidence. Actually, this part I messed up. This should be debunking the suicide myth right here. I screwed this up. God damn it. Debunking the suicide myth. Here's why it's lithium-ion battery fire. So again, all you got to do is listen to read this. Okay? So do a little bit of work yourself. I'm not going to be able to tell everybody everything and repeat it all every time. A lot of people have already know about a lot of this. Here's the orb analysis information, why it's teleportation, right? So please do a little bit of work yourself. Pull it up while we're watching this. You can read it yourself. You guys are smart individuals, I'm sure. Why it's reverse engineered versus non-human intelligence. Everything you want to know is probably listed in here. Okay. But I will answer questions anyway. But that will help you guys. Any other examples of credible videos with similar orbs? I've been sent a lot of videos. Anything else we want to see on Diego Garcia? I've seen a lot of videos of orbs. I'm just not connecting them to our videos because there's, you know, they'll use anything else I link to this case to try to discredit the whole case. I'm just going to take one more look. If I had to guess, either somehow the elevators here seems too small. These things could be elevators, maybe. We were looking at this before. We think these might be tarps that are meant to look like grass. It's hard to say. But I don't think so. This is too small as well. To me, the place where the elevator's got to be is over here. It's either this thing right here or this thing right here might be an elevator somehow. Something big enough to fit a plane. We also looked at this spot right here. This whole thing maybe would be a huge elevator. That would be interesting. Okay. Can I copy this? Dang it. How do I copy this? I can't copy. Oh, there we go. Copy. Yeah, this one. This is the one we were looking at too. Ink Pixie and I were looking at this. Yes. Yeah, to me, this looks like the elevator. Whoa, does it move? It moves. You guys see that? Nah, I think it must just be the angle. That's weird though. Everything else is in the same spot, apparent position. So this to me is probably the elevator. Very weird. Okay. What are the ramifications of all this? Good call. I'll pull up the videos so you guys can watch while I'm talking about it. Ramifications are probably that we have technology that's being withheld from us that is very advanced. And, I think they would have been very, very advanced in 2014. But right now, it's not that advanced. I think it's just being hidden from us. But it could change the world. If fossil fuels would essentially be obsolete. When we talk about, if you read my most recent piece, you'll see that this can create fusion energy. So what we're talking about here is like the power of the sun. Like if you think of the Spider-Man 2 movie, the power of the sun in the palm of my hand. That's like literally what we're talking about here. Right? So I'll pull this up real quick. Read this piece. This one is my most recent one that I put out there. This is actually a paper that Salvatore Pais put out. I just read all of it earlier today. Nuclear fusion may also be engineered using the concept at hand, given extremely high plasma densities and temperatures, as well as the high energy confinement times which can be achieved with the generation of ultra-high electromagnetic field intensities. What he's saying is that you can create a field where you have your plasma stuck inside the field, and you can create fusion power, like the power of the sun. And that's essentially why we might be able to get like free energy at that point. That's what fusion power is, essentially free energy. We can just look up and see the sun producing energy all the time, right? Like perpetually. So this is pretty scary. Then this part right here. At the disruption point, energy may be amplified
to such a high degree as to generate space-time curvature singularity, leading to the total destruction of the planetoid. Just remove these last few letters, guys. Total destruction of the planet. That's what we might be dealing with. When you're dealing with amplification of energy, that's where you're talking about just achieving energy levels that now you just scale it up and you can have a doomsday weapon, right? This is pretty wild here. We have a Discord. It's currently not open right now. So right now, the only ways you can follow is on Twitter or on YouTube. We had a lot of people infiltrating our Discord, people trying to hack my Discord. So we had to close that down for now. So it's private only. Ramifications on the... Yeah, we're actually going to be interviewing Bob Greenyer on Sunday. So, Pat, if you want to watch that, I think it's 1 o'clock Eastern, I think. Let me check. I got to prepare for the Bob Greenyer tomorrow. Yeah, 1 o'clock Eastern for Bob Greenyer on Sunday. Hard Truths number 2. Now, look at all this other stuff. Using the same high-frequency gravitational wave generator has the capability of inducing a local phase transition from turbulent to laminar, I don't know what that means, allowing for smooth sailing of a hybrid craft through the vacuum of space. This is what we're talking about in the videos. Now I know why Salvatore Pius wanted to reach out to me. Like, he's looking at the video. Let's look at the video again together here. This is what he's talking about right here. He's talking about what it's doing right there. Creating smooth sail transition specifically through the conditioned vacuum of space. Zap. That's what he's talking about. It's wild. Enclosed vacuum plasma shield. This is what the orbs are. It's an enclosed plasma vacuum shield. And it even says, due to the coupled effects of EM field-induced air-water particles repulsion and the local vacuum energy state polarization. He's saying that you can create a bubble, just like this. Am I religious? I'm becoming more and more religious. It's funny, I was baptized Roman Catholic, and I became atheist before and around college, and then after that I started to become agnostic, and the more I learn about science, the more religious I become. I think that what this means is that our universe is a simulation. You know, it's not a simulation maybe, but a construct is a better way to think of it, because I don't want to diminish the value of life. Life is still very valuable, but it means that there's a creator of some sort out there. You know, my personal belief is that time is an illusion and that we are reliving lives over and over and over again. And that what persists is our spirit, our soul, if you want to think of it like that, right? We might all even be the same person. Whereas from our own, because time is a fluid symmetry, which means time flows differently depending on where you are. So it's very possible that time itself is just a complete illusion, just based on our brains and how our brains work. And what that could mean is that we're all the same person. How weird as that sounds. And we're just living our lives over and over and over again repeatedly. We're living every life. Yeah, thanks, Aaron. The Y-Files actually chimed in early on. The Y-Files said they couldn't cover this, otherwise they were afraid of getting canceled off YouTube. They did an After Files piece, but it was really bad. They needed a lot more evidence. Like nobody's to the level we are with MH370x. Yeah, Aaron, I'm seeing the chat. Sorry if I missed anything else. I'm trying to keep up. It's hard. I think that's all the questions that people were at right now. Yeah, our reality is a wonderful creation. It is wild to think that. So I'll show you guys the video while I answer I take a look at some of my tweet replies. I posted this video here on Twitter a while back. It's called The Egg, a short story.
The Holdovers is the 4-star grade A best picture of the year.
That's glaringly apparent.
And audience after audience.
You were on your way home when you died. It was a car accident. Nothing particularly remarkable, but fatal nonetheless. It was a painless death. The medics tried their best to save you, but to no avail. Your body was so utterly shattered, you were better off trust me. And that's when you met me.
I love this.
What happened? Where am I? You died, I said, matter-of-factly. No point in mincing words. There was a truck, and it was skidding. Yes. I died. Yes. But don't feel bad about it. Everyone dies. You looked around. There was nothingness. Just you and me. What is this place? Is this the afterlife? More or less. Are you God? Yes, I'm God. My kids? My wife?
I love this video.
What about them? Will they be all right? That's what I like to see, I said. You just died and your main concern is for your family. That's good stuff right there. You looked at me with fascination. To you, I didn't look like God. I just looked like some man, or possibly a woman. Some vague authority figure, maybe. Don't worry, I said. They'll be fine. Your kids will remember you as perfect in every way. They didn't have time to grow contemptuous of you. Your wife will cry on the outside, but will be secretly relieved.
This is pretty messed up.
To be fair, your marriage was falling apart. If it's any consolation, she'll feel very guilty for feeling relieved. Oh, so what happens now? Do I go to heaven or hell or something? Neither. You'll be reincarnated. Ah. So the Hindus were right. All religions are right in their own way. Walk with me. You
Hindus are
followed
right.
along as we strode through the void. Where are we going? Nowhere in particular. It's just nice to walk while we talk. So, what's the point then? When I get reborn, I'll just be a blank slate, right? A baby. So, all my experiences and everything I did in this life, won't matter. Not so. You have within you all the knowledge and experiences of all your past lives. You just don't remember them right now. I stopped walking and took you by the shoulders. Your soul is more magnificent, beautiful, and gigantic than you can possibly imagine. A human mind can only contain a tiny fraction of what you are. It's like sticking your finger in a glass of water to see if it's hot or cold. You put a tiny part of yourself into the vessel, and when you bring it back out, you've gained all the experiences it had. You've been in a human for the last 48 years, so you haven't stretched out yet and felt the rest of your immense consciousness. If we hung out here for long enough, you'd start remembering everything. But there's no point to doing that between each life. How many times have I been reincarnated then? Oh, lots. Lots and lots. And into lots of different lives. This time around, you'll be a Chinese peasant girl in 540 AD. Wait, what? You're sending me back in time? Well, I guess
Here
technically,
you go, guys. This is the
time as you know it only exists in your universe. Things are different where I come from. Where you come from? Oh, sure. I come from somewhere else. And there are others like me. I know you'll want to know what it's like there, but honestly, you wouldn't understand. Oh, you said, a little let down. But wait, if I get reincarnated to other places in time,
I love this.
I could have interacted with myself at some point. Sure, happens all the time. And with both lives only aware of their own lifespan, you don't even know it's happening. So, what's the point of it all? I looked you in the eye. The meaning of life, the reason I made this whole universe, is for you to mature. You mean mankind? You want us to mature? No, just you. I made this whole universe for you. With each new life, you grow and mature and become a larger and greater intellect.
I like that thought.
Just me? What about everyone else?
It's just
There
you.
is no one else. In this universe, there's just you and me. You stared blankly at me. But all the people on Earth, all you, different incarnations of you. Wait, I'm everyone. Now you're getting it. I'm every human being who ever lived. Or who will ever live. Yes. I'm Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
And you're John Wilkes Booth, too. I'm Hitler, you said, appalled. And you're the millions he killed. I'm Jesus. And you're everyone who followed him. You fell silent. Every time you victimized someone, you were victimizing yourself. Every act of kindness you've done to yourself. Every happy and sad moment ever experienced by any human was or will be experienced by you. You thought for a long time. Why? Why do all this? Because someday you will become like me.
Oh, I can pin my
Because
finger to
that's
that.
what you are. You're one of my kind. You're my child.
I didn't know you could do that.
Wow, you said incredulous. You mean
There you go.
I'm a
I pinned it.
god?
I didn't even know you could do that.
No, not yet. You're a fetus. You're still growing. Once you've lived every human life throughout all time, you will have grown enough to be born.
Thanks for telling me about that, TS.
So the whole universe, it's just an egg, I answered. Now it's time for you to move on to your next life. And I sent you on your way.
One of the best videos I've ever watched. Every time you victimize someone, you victimize yourself. Every kindness you do to another, you do to yourself. People should remember that. Yeah. Pretty crazy, huh? If you guys haven't seen that video, you know, that one's wild. That one's wild, right? Wait, I got hit with a copyright claim? Wait, really? Hold on. Your stream has been... I got hit with a copyright claim?